Howdy folks, welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master for this evening and most evenings. We have a whole new group of people joining us. I want to say welcome back to Matt, to Hannah, to Tina, and then joining us, if you want to introduce yourself, I know that you've been for one-shots, but...
Hi guys, I'm Dan. I'm in Joe's other game, Starfinder, that meets on Thursdays. I'm really excited to join this game, and let's do it, guys.
Yeah. And then Alana, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alana. I'm brand new to this group, and I'm very excited to play today.
Yeah. So, a couple of quick things, housekeeping things before we get started. We have an Instagram, @AlberonRPG. There's a lot of hand-drawn maps, although we're switching a lot more to 3D terrain, which is just as exciting. But it's a lot easier to see. We do have a camera for the table right now. It's going to show a spectacular shot of gummies, because that's what we're eating. But to see the things that come up on that screen, it's a lot easier to see Instagram, Twitter, @AlberonRPG. Thank you very much for those of you who joined us last week for our premiere of Mosaic Team 5. It was a resounding success. It was a lot of fun having so many people watching. It was a lot of fun playing a new system, which is Starfinder. If you are looking for another campaign to follow, Mosaic Team 5 is a space western themed, very much in the vein of Cowboy Bebop. We have another composed song for our theme song by Wes from Arcane Anthems. So a lot of really cool stuff happening on Thursdays. Definitely check us out next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have a website, alberonrpg.com. It has now information about both Mosaic Team 5 and the Adventures in Alberon campaign. There is, player pictures up there. There are all kinds of things. Also up there is the rough draft, or the current working draft, of the Dungeoneer's Guide to Dominion, the continent that we play on. I should have kept the map out, then I could have pulled it out. But it's a sprawling campaign setting with, I think in that there's only about 2,000 years of history, but it has a lot of history and a lot of different things that you could use to set a game in Dominion if you wanted to. And finally, we use Sirenscape for a lot of the sound effects, the music, things that you hear that are not us. Sirenscape is a great digital tool set that you could use to inject your world with all kinds of sounds, ranging from orc battles to, very weirdly, goblin lullabies. So Sirenscape, great digital tool set for Dungeon Masters. And with that, and because the song is wrapping up so nicely, I can jump right into our recap when it kicks in. Also, I apologize ahead of time. I taught an 8-hour class today that was about restraints. I'm very sore and very tired, so a little loopy. Apologize for that. All right. Adventures. Last we played, you found your way to the Sun Honey Throne Room, this subterranean throne room in the base of an old tree that had at one point been a community for pixies and Goliath bees working together in harmony. Now just this corrupt mound with fungus and toadstools, things of that nature, kind of growing off, forming almost a creep around the base. You approached a body upon a throne in this room. A elf with these moth-like appendages behind. But as you approached, the whole body slithered up the throne like an anglerfish's lure into the mouth of a massive beast of fungus and decay. A battle ensued, with Akka raining fire down upon the larger monster and Shay very much controlling the crowd. That was until a furious gnome came charging from within a crystalline prism. Missing their first attack badly, they hurled their axe into the darkness before firing a beam of light from their chest at the monster. With some struggle, you did defeat these creatures. You were introduced to Brenna, the newest member of your party, a gnome barbarian with a mild magic bend. Brenna, you found the corpse of Belrig, an individual who you'd spent some time with in your past. You'd seen something briefly, but seeing the condition of the body, you realized more time had passed than you realized. I said you realized twice there. So.
I wasn't gonna say
you realized a lot. I'm really trying to reinforce that. You destroyed this tree, using a series of alchemical grenades you had looted from Urtiz the Feller. You set up a very, very carefully crafted plan, whereupon you would strike these grenades from different angles at the same time. Unfortunately, Bretta, with your fourth natural one of that particular session, you lobbed your axe wide, almost striking Akka on the other side of the tree, causing this tree to explode on two sides and collapse into the forest, beginning a small blaze. Akka, for this reason, and because you were not allowed into the other location, you spent the night outside in the cold wind of this wintry Feywild place. You watched the tree burn and made sure that the last remaining traces of corruption were destroyed. Shay, you spent a little bit of time finding a seed to replace this tree with, having kind of learned over the last couple of sessions, destroying trees typically has a price.
Planting trees has a cost.
A warm breeze, scented very much like Solano's oolong tea, guided you through the woods to a copse of aspen. There you met Old Mother Aspen, this large, first term was not appropriate to say, a very stumpy tree. Short, very wide at the base, and when you opened the single door on its trunk, you found a space much larger on the inside. An entire tavern where this tree served you from behind the bar of living wood. Hannah, Shay, you found a comfortable stay within this place. Food, drink. Akka, you ate some shitty rations in the snow. But the night passed without issue. If you say so. You met in the morning with Azalian, who gave you a resurrection stone and forgave you on behalf of the Feywild. There you go, holding it up. The group, after some varied deliberations, accepted Brenna, who explained that she'd lost her group, and after a brief discussion, 2 years of her life, and what felt like hours. Finally, you accepted a free trip from a bemused Azalian to Yorn, a floating sky giant or cloud giant city in the clouds. As you teleported on a circle of runes of frost, you suddenly found yourselves beneath a star-filled sky amidst a massive, twisting series of limbs in a stone courtyard sized for a giant, and that is where we're going to begin this week. So give me just 1 second here. It's always good when the music starts like that. We just... Akka. Don't worry, it's not just you.
Nah.
Akka,
Music.
Brenna, Shay, you now stand in this courtyard with a huge tree that just towers above you. These huge limbs, some of them about 20 feet across. Truly, this is a ficus tree sized for a giant. These limbs spread out and kind of move, and as soon as you start stepping and find yourself in this place, you can sense the leaves and the vines around you shift, almost detecting your presence. Shay, with a passive perception of 18? 20, Jesus. With a passive perception of 20, not only do you notice a shift in the clouds beyond, but you notice definitive shape to it. And even as this mass of wood begins to swing and shift, you see a shape burst through the clouds. Sorry, 1 moment. Suddenly, from outside of the kind of grays and whites, there is a burst of force, and you see fluttering in the night sky white sails. You can see here and there little patches of textile work, definitely Xinyi in origin. The full ship, about 45 feet long. You can see the tip of this thing, finished only about a day prior. There is a human, and actually, if you wouldn't mind introducing your character, Elanor.
Of course. So, she's a fairly average-looking person at first glance, maybe about 5'6", pretty slight build. She wears a very bright white, but a little bit fluffy of a blouse. And then she has a studded leather breastplate over it, with green pants, also very loose, and a pair of nice boots. Basically, upon first glance, she's definitely has a little bit of a presence to her, but you can't really pinpoint what exactly about her is particularly unique. She seems relatively average, very olive skin, very tanned, and overall just looking very cool. Trying to, at least.
Yeah.
Helmet.
And so, certainly, as you are kind of at the front of the ship, unlike most ships, you can see at the front there is this kind of golden hooked prow. There are controls almost in the front, these runes that have been sized down some ways, and they glow this faint, almost dark navy blue. And as you touch them, you can actually, in you've learned at this point, it doesn't make an audible sound, but you hear almost the controls responding to you. This ethereal kind of hum. But as you steer this for the very first time, kind of breaking through the clouds, having seen this disturbance, you see, surrounded by writhing mass of wood and other elements. You're right there, Matt.
I'm trying to set this thing up.
I appreciate that. All of the sails are actually adjustable, so you can like make them kind of more spread out if that will help.
Lower the back sails.
You see an elf dressed in like green plate mail, although very sleek in design, and you see already like elements of this calligraphy. Like, man, I one job.
You can blame me. It's a new ship. I'm working on it.
That's a good point. Yeah, the ship just kind of shifts to the right and the left a little bit. You see this elf. You see dressed in white, a human female, a little bit shorter. And then you can see in the darkness, glowing along one of the arms, this almost blue lightning bolt-like scars that emit a glow in the dark. You also see a little harder, because they're dressed in all green on the kind of grassy background, but you see a gnome suddenly holding an axe larger than they are in this moment. Behind you, the Aarakocra who accompanied you, Krodek, you can kind of sense there's this movement, and then suddenly there is, the wings take off. From your standpoint, you can see Krodek. If you want to alert the others, you absolutely can. But in this moment, you are probably about 100 feet away.
I got it going.
What do you guys want to do?
Is there a way out of this courtyard with this tree?
Yeah, so behind you, turning, you can see there was an area that was all overgrown. You would remember one member of your party snapping that wood to enter previously. So you can actually exit that way straight through the courtyard.
Cool. I am doing so.
Excellent.
I will follow suit.
I'm also
You
following.
watch. Yeah, the three of them suddenly begin to run towards a door that is off to the starboard side of your ship. So if you wish, you can kind of steer it off and progress in that direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to kind of like pull up next to them,
Okay.
kind of like maybe a slide drift if I can manage that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
No problem. Without even... Well, actually, you know what? This is a pretty new ship.
Yes.
So go ahead. This is going to be... You're proficient in ships, correct?
I should be, yes.
You're a swashbuckler. I'm almost
Yes.
positive you are. So go ahead and make a flat check, not at disadvantage, which is what it would normally be.
A 2.
Okay. You feel as you kind of like...
Wasn't it disadvantage?
So as you go forward and you're about to kind of touch these controls, suddenly you hear the Aarakocra behind you. These wings move, and you kind of start forward and press something. You hear from before where it was this... You hear this, and you're like, oh, what did I do? You don't see anything different, but all of a sudden you can feel the wood and kind of begin to almost twist in an uncomfortable way.
Hold on!
Man,
Oh boy.
Do not
not crash into your ship.
Hear and see this?
Yeah, are we just like watching this?
So the two of you have
Is it
not.
like
or sorry,
a
the two of you have
dying
not seen
eagle?
this yet.
Just
Okay.
You're the
All I
only
know
person.
is that she ran, and I was like, I'm not staying
And
here.
if she's running, all you're seeing is this flash of white.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just watching this happen as I'm like kind of following Shay, but just like what the
I want to get out of the range of the ficus and then I'll stop and try
Sure.
to figure out.
So you slide through the door with your speed and momentum. You have to kind of slide to catch yourself. A couple of pebbles like kick out through the open doorway to the space beyond where the ship is trying to pull up. For you, you
I
look
mean,
up
I've
and you
seen
can.
this thing. I worked on it a bit.
It's very different. So when
But
you last
like,
worked
in
on
the
it,
air,
it was huge.
that's and in the air, just watching it
Yes,
is like
you can
oh,
see this.
Shit.
As you look up and see it, though, suddenly your vision is blocked as it's about to move past the upper wall, and one of these huge branches comes swinging down.
Oh shit.
With your speed, you're fine. But I need the two of you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
I can't be surprised.
This isn't really about being surprised. As you look up, you do see this big branch coming towards you.
Natural 20 for a total of 23.
Phenomenal. Okay.
All right, that's a
Thank you, Danger Sense.
9, and I'm gonna
Keeping
make
this
it a 14.
Okay, flash of genius.
Yeah.
So as you guys are running, Shay just leaves you. So it's you running and you look up, you kind of start slowing down as you admire this thing, and suddenly you see this huge looming shape. All of a sudden, you feel something hit the back of your knee and you tumble forwards as Brenna kind of clips you, making you move out of the way. Yeah, you kind of fall, half dive through the open doorway as this tree right behind.
I just said I was sorry.
This tree, you would actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, somebody cast a spell that detected this was an abomination. So
I don't think I was
you
even
weren't
there.
there, right? You were Gunter
Because
back then.
yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
was
Fair
back
enough.
when I was.
So you probably don't know that.
A little gun.
So very confusing to you, though you
little
have
thing.
just earned the forest's apology. The trees are still trying to kill you. However, you guys make it into this doorway. There's this huge crunch behind you. The dust scatters into the air. All of a sudden, you see the wood outside. At one point, this kind of beautiful walkway that you are recognizing now, probably meant for the larger ship to kind of come up on. Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw. Dan, if you could make a dexterity saving throw as well. I'm going to have you introduce your
Yep.
character based on how you roll.
An 18.
18?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So could you describe what they see as you succeed in the saving throw? You see this huge wooden ship suddenly collide with the edge of the deck. Part of this wood, about 30 feet long, instantly snaps and crumbles away, and you see it drop through the cloud cover and down into the darkness. As this hits, all of you kind of shudder, and for you, you leap from the ship and manage to, you can actually describe exactly what you do, because that's a high roll.
I mostly just jump into the air, and I kind of notice like a dandelion seed in the air, and I just grasp it with my fingers, and then land. And you can see a 5'8" man, mid-30s, short, dark hair, green to yellowish eyes with a large beard. He kind of looks like the brawny paper towel man.
Not a sponsor.
And he's wearing a large, dark green cloak with a hood, and he's just covered in dirt, just a sheen of dirt all around him.
It's like Pigpen.
Yeah, exactly.
Both
And
headlamps.
he takes this little dandelion seed,
They're on a Tuesday.
and he whispers into it and puts it to his ear, and then frowns and then lets it go off into the distance.
And you see this little, in this violent moment with this right behind, and the ship hitting the deck and now skidding across the wood, which I haven't given you the ship statistics yet. I'll do that later. But if you can mark somewhere, it took 15 points of damage. This thing collides. You can hear as it does, the ship hits, and the metal in the front bends a little bit. Now you just kind of for about 15 feet before suddenly the ship comes to a stop. Technically a successful landing.
I rolled a 17 on my dex save, so at least I didn't fall off
There
the
you
ship.
go. So as that happens, you kind of catch yourself using your sea legs and always having at least one hand on the ship. You steady yourself. You slide a good 10 feet with the momentum, but you catch yourself right before going off. Just in time to see this man that you just met drift down on a dandelion and then whisper to it. For what it's worth, now through the courtyard, you are out of the range of this ficus. And though it does squirm and you can hear these huge branches twist and move, you are not in any immediate threat. So you don't even need to roll initiative. Good job, everybody.
Good.
I did have the whole map. I did have the whole map. Right
Way to
here.
run, Shay.
All right. So all
You're really
of you
good
now.
at that there running thing.
Yeah, all of you now.
You're not bad either.
Ryan is just kind of like another tree out to get you. What is this?
He just said that I was forgiven. This is bullshit.
So now, all of a sudden, with this
Slumping over to the I guess not wreckage, the finished thing. I want to go check it out now.
Sure.
But
So you begin to walk towards the ship. You see the elf approaching you. You're kind of in the middle of all of this. Shay, Kroddick, kind of touches down next to you. He inclines his head slightly. Sky Sister.
Sky brother.
He turns and kind of looks. You can see on the ship this human, very nicely dressed, olive skin. What do you guys want to do?
I see you finished it. Or Gamble did.
You've been gone for a week.
That was longer than we expected.
Yes. We've looked several times. I've flown over the frost line.
Yes.
What happened? In the background, you hear this, and there's this thump as one of the roots kind of shifts again in the back.
We were tasked with eradicating some rot from a place I've been before.
Gamble will want to know. We've had visitors in your absence. Come, we should go back.
Yes, let's.
He turns and just kind of inclines his head to you. Akka.
I'm on my way over to the ship. I'm gonna check that out.
So you guys kind of returning to the ship. You see this kind of group approaching. Dan, your character, and remind me again of what his name is.
Oh, Oakfeld. I forgot to mention.
Yes. Oakfeld and Elanor. And because we didn't know where everybody was sitting, there aren't buttons that have everybody's name up there like there are every week. But next week, we will. You see these people now all kind of approaching, including the Aarakocra that you went with. So they seem like probably not a threat. You weren't explicitly sent out to find these people, though, so kind of a surprise. What are you all doing?
I'm inspecting the hopefully not wreckage, but
Make an
damaged
investigation
ship.
check. Yeah, sure.
As this is going on, I'm going, sorry about that. New vessel, new quirks.
Yeah. Cool. I'm checking out.
Yeah.
29.
20. First of all, you can see the work that's been done here. You remember how this ship was originally. That prow part went all the way down and around, so an extensive amount of work has been done. You can't imagine how it's been done in the day that you've been gone.
Yeah. What?
However, it looks relatively intact. You can see certainly some damage on the front. Nothing that couldn't probably be repaired with a couple hours of work.
Oh.
Not too bad. And that in and of itself, you start to examine it a little bit closer. This is no normal kind of wood. This is something that you haven't seen before. And as an artificer, that in and of itself already kind of an uncommon thing. You haven't really seen trees up here, except for this ficus. And the other one that tried to kill you, actually. So where this wood could come from, maybe one of those creatures, hard to tell. But the material, very resistant to damage. You would imagine it probably should have taken more. And as you look at the broken dock, the wood there, several beams thick and sized for giants. So very strong, that dock.
Not really a scratch.
Barely, yeah. 15 points is nothing.
Okay. Well, I'm more just what? How did this get done in a day?
We were gone for a week, apparently. It can happen in the Frostline.
Brenna kind of nods enthusiastically.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm just, I guess, disappointed. I don't even. We're a week behind. Oh.
Yes,
Well-
which is why we must get moving.
To be precise, you are 6 days and 19 hours behind.
You all right over there, Oakfeld?
Another fine journey, my friend. I would have to say, this is possibly... And I'm trying to think in my mind how many journeys I've been on an airship. Probably about 2, maybe mostly 1. But in my mind, I think... probably the second best journey I've had on a ship before.
I'll take it.
I'm like, what?
I have to go check in with Gamble, and afterwards we can set out.
Yeah. Okay.
Aka, I'm sure that Gamble would like to talk to you too. You have missed much.
Okay. I will. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Let's go talk to Gamble.
So the group, are you guys all boarding the ship?
Yes.
Wait, we're getting back in?
Up to you. So you would know, this is Wharton's lab. Sorry, you...
I wouldn't
Aka
know
wouldn't
where.
know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Shay, you would know. And are able to pass on. This is Wharton's lab. This is a...
I don't speak giant anymore
That's
either.
true. Yeah. So this is a botany laboratory that existed for the cloud giants. There was a lot of experiments done on plants. It is separate, similar in the way to the Floatstone Fortress. It's its own building, floating separate from the rest of Yorn. So you would need. There is a ring out there that you could use to transport back.
Fly.
You could also fly if you wished.
What's the time to travel by flight?
For you,
Yeah.
25 minutes.
Okay. Are we? Who's? Yeah, let's get in the flying ship that we just saw crash.
Fantastic. Yes. So hesitantly, you see this party board your ship. Are you returning to your destination?
Well, I guess so. I kind of wave at everyone like, hello there. I'm guessing you're friends of Kraltik. I'm Elanor.
Are you the captain?
As of today, yes.
Pleased to meet you, Elanor. We need to return to the, Floatstone Fortress? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna just go find a spot to sit and just be like, if I die now, I die now.
That's fair. That's fair. At
Plenty
this
of rope
point-
to hang on to. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So without any issue, without even rolling a check, this is a very easy flight. You're flying like 5 minutes.
Okay,
so
good.
You've already done this, and you literally just took off. So you're turning right back around and going back to where you came from. This was, in terms of a test flight, relatively successful. So for all of you, as soon as you see Elanor step forward and put their hands on either side of this thing, a little hesitantly after hearing that noise, but to your relief, as you sort of touch the controls, you hear the same reverberation, the same kind of almost soothing in a way. It reminds you in certain ways of the sounds of the ocean against a ship. But you put your hands on either side, you see this glow appear, these runes. You've seen runes similar around Yorn, certainly giant, but begin to glow to life, and suddenly the sails behind fill with wind, as if by magic, and the ship flaps once and takes off. You hear it kind of as it scrapes off the wood.
This is it?
But aside from that, yeah, it does kind of pitch a little bit, and you feel the structure shift.
I mean, I have flying boots. I can
You
just, if I'm starting to crash, I'm dipping.
Yeah.
Open top.
Luckily, you rise up above the Floatstone Fortress, almost in salute. You see one of these huge limbs kind of wave up and then slowly settle to form almost just a regular tree-looking limb. Again, still in the darkness. You shift off, and having seen this a little bit before, you see below you, at the moment, you're probably close to 3,000 feet in the sky, cloud cover beneath you. You see stars above. Here and there are little whiffs of clouds that get up this high, but very little rain in this place, fairly dry. Without any trouble seeing some of these structures pass on the right, the ruins of this once great cloud giant city. Beautiful buildings of lots of glass, which in Dominion, pretty uncommon. Glass is hard to make. There's only really one or two continents that have pretty heavily, like actual glass infrastructure. So very, very surprising to see. And for a moment, almost like it takes you aback because you see this like movement, and it is just your reflection as the ship passes back, broken panes and strange mismatched windows. You see beautiful golden seams in these buildings. This was once a beautiful city, but quiet, almost eerily so here, with mist kind of settling into the streets. But you return to the Floatstone Fortress with these now torches lit around. For the three of you, or actually the two of you who have been there prior, it has changed a little bit. You can see there are torches all along the outer courtyard. You would see there are sentries on duty. You see a Zinni guard kind of off in the distance. But closer, actually, on the wall closest to where you're approaching, you see a tiny little form. Glub is on duty, kind of just walking back and forth on the wall.
He's not doing his stone regiment?
You finished the stone. The stones are during the day.
Okay.
Yeah. He's still doing the stones.
Okay.
For what it's worth. He's done the stones every day.
Work hard.
Yeah.
Level up.
So, you see this. You also notice... Hang on a second, pull up my notes here. Return to Yorn. The ship pulls up outside, and you see there was once this kind of floating island that you had to get to and then make that 30-foot gap. This ship now comes to rest perfectly between that island and the doorway, as if designed for this kind of a craft.
Pleasantly surprised that we didn't crash again.
Yeah. And as you kind of pull up, there is a mooring in place, like a dock has been constructed relatively recently for this. Again, more and more credence to a week having passed in your absence. As you enter into the main chamber, off to the left, where you would, I gotta remember all this, sorry, off to the right, where the lore binders had originally kind of set up, and you can see around the edge of the curve where the door is to the library, there's a huge tent that has been set up over top. The entrance now underneath the tent. You can see seated outside an unfamiliar lore binder to the two of you, but you know this to be Archivist Sulk. You've met him and Lorebinder Boron. This is Lorebinder Boron's superior. He is the archivist of the secret section of the Lorebinder Academy. Closest thing that the Academy has at the moment to like a like an action hero, I guess, in this academics. He's like the Indiana Jones of the Lorebinder Academy, I guess.
Nice.
He has, a lot of exploits under his belt.
It belongs in a museum.
Him and Gunter probably crossed paths at some point, I would guess, actually.
Probably weren't friends.
Anyways, in addition, you see there are 5 other lorebinders in this hallway, all wearing battle garb, the kind of stiffened leather plates, the high collars, and the elements of gloves and runes that kind of dance around the wrists. Much heavier kind of armed enforcement than you'd seen before. You also notice there are, right on the outside of the doorway, 2 sort of columns that have been set up, like totem poles in a way. They have these little threaded tiny rubies with intricate spirals of silver wire. The rubies almost like little beads on the wire. And they crisscross around these 5-foot tall posts that are crafted into these really dizzying geometric patterns. Certainly not Zinni.
Oh, okay.
That is kind of what you see. Off to the left, you can see there has been a significant change in the Squall's End group. You see a lot of villagers there have now set up much more permanent structures. Still probably a little bit more temporary than eventually they will be, but actual stone walls. You can see they've taken elements of the broken stone columns and kind of reformed them to form floors. And this once huge hallway sized for a giant makes up like a triple-decker series of apartments now along the outside. They've taken parts of the outside wallway away to create open, to most people, very dangerous open kind of spaces to the ground, just sky below. But for the Zenyi, beautiful access to the open sky. And from some of the ground and upper level floors, it is just sky outside for the entirety of the room. You would imagine probably a lot of Aarakocra in those rooms. Straight through, you can see the courtyard. There is still a large pile of stones that you had seen Glub shifting to one end and then back every day. You can see on the very far end of the courtyard, the doorway has been opened up further to create a larger door, and you can see proper construction of a new monastery underway. You can see the vertical tower has been opened up a little bit. There's a now kind of like a gentle curve that's been added so that there is more of like a shape being added to this kind of square structure that was the tower. Also, that pond that had been outside, probably like 200 feet away from you at this point, but you can hear running water. Something has been adjusted, although too far to see. A lot of work has been done in the week that you've been gone. But that is what you see in all directions. What do you guys want to do?
I am looking for Gamble.
Sure. So you would know he's probably straight through the courtyard and in the monastery area.
I'm just following Shay.
Fair
I'm
enough.
just kind of like, I am resigned to this fate.
With the ship now secure, what are you doing?
So I was hired by Gamble, correct, to fly this?
Hired is a strong word. Not
Recruited.
One thing that's important to notice about this little community, nobody is using money up here. This is very much people kind of helping each other out. There's a group called the Lorebinders who don't quite fall into that group. They do have money, but amongst themselves they're sharing. And with the Zenyi over the past week especially, you've noticed, everybody's kind of adopted this, like, we're all up in the middle of the sky. There's not a lot else that we could do. Like, we're sharing, we're just going to work together. So there is not a lot of money being passed around. That being said, in finding this new community away from everything else, a way to fit in and a way to find place with everybody else finding something to contribute, this was something very unique to you that you could do. So Gamble, very appreciative of this
Yes.
halfling.
So I'm probably going to seek him out and report back on the maiden voyage.
Sure.
And maybe gloss over the rough landing a little bit, unless I can get him to fix it for me.
Fair enough.
I'll
He is
end up
quite
fixing
handy.
it.
He's the person that built this ship. And you saw him put this ship together. You got here a couple days ago. He finished about half of that ship in 3 days, from rubble, essentially. He's a very capable craftsman. So, Oakfeld. What are you doing? Most of this group kind of gets off the ship and you see them heading straight center. I assume that, Brenna, you're kind of sticking with this group at the
I'm gonna
moment?
tag along because Akka seems like he might need some moral support.
So, like-
Brenna has no idea what's going on, but she's become fond of Akka and just wants to, like, help him out as best she can.
So the first person ever that is fond of Akin in his life.
Wow.
Quite possibly, actually.
Stellar choice.
Right?
So I believe I was mostly doing this job with Elanor, and brought to Yorn with her.
Yeah, and so you came to Yorn for, your own reasons.
Yeah.
But in kind of appearing when this kind of assignment came up, it was exciting. So why not? You've never been on a flying ship.
I probably would want to mostly seek out Gamble as well, just to
Sure.
get my recompense for completing the job, and maybe ask him a couple questions I have.
Sure, no problem. So you all make your way through this massive courtyard, maybe 50 feet across, circular with these huge walls that separate it. The walls are almost like a hollow chamber, and so they form corridors for a giant, but for people, like these huge spaces to expand. On the northern tower, this circular structure, about 35 feet tall, but the tower goes several floors above it. It's the only part of the structure that does so. And as you get to the tower, you can see the changes that have been made. Just 1 second here. So the monastery proper is underway. You can see that carefully, in this single pond that had formed from the elements slowly eroding the ceiling and then kind of draining and slowly creating this extremophile environment of tiny lizards. Careful channels have been added to it, and so the water seems to kind of go somewhere. With your actually passive perception, you hear very faintly somewhere the sound of humming, like a pump. And you can see the water kind of disappears in a channel into the wall and then trickles down from the statue that has been built since you've been gone. Give me 1 second here. There's a very gentle current that kind of flows. You can see there are these small lizards that have spread around the channel and kind of spread out a little bit more. And in the water itself, there are these tiny little green leaves, little bits of duckweed that float. In the middle of the statue, kind of sitting cross-legged, there is a vague humanoid shape. It looks like maybe it hasn't been completely finished, but it's entirely composed out of reconstituted rubble that has been kind of carved away from the stuff that had collapsed previously. And for you, Shay, you get the sense that there is, when this is finished, some sense of the idea of creating something out of destruction. There's certainly like a continuation theme to that. Behind the pond on either side, there's a 10-foot wide staircase that has been cleared away. A curve about 20 feet up, you know, as you've been up there. And as you lead the group up, there is that 20 by 40 foot space that you had used as a training space previously. The exterior walls have been stripped away to make these lines open to the air, so that it is kind of stone coming down, stone coming up, and then you can just reach out. If you wanted to, as it's about 5 feet wide, you could just step out and fall 3,000 feet to the ground. Perfect. But you would imagine during the day, beautiful breeze and sunlight comes into this channel, almost like a beam through the room. There are, in the middle of the room, kind of towards the end of this 40-foot stretch, you see a beautifully carved Zinni archway. You'd remember this was taken from the previous monastery.
The one that we tied.
The one that you guys tied drunk Morwen to, yes.
Well, Meliora did, technically.
Sure.
I kept watch.
Added to the
Threw
archway,
pebbles at him.
new wooden walls to support it. Behind, there's another staircase about 20 feet wide that switchbacks to itself. However, coming down the stairs from the 3rd floor, not surprised to have seen you, and you see in the darkness, there is this kind of, almost in ways like cataracts, but vaguely, faintly, almost kind of this ethereal blue. You'd remember the listener had a similar look to his eyes. He smiles and nods to you. Hello, Shay.
Hello, Uncle.
Akka, you've returned.
Gamble. Yes.
Good.
We did. Thank you.
And
I saw you got the ship.
you can see, so you see, having not met this person before, halfling. Very small, very old. You can see a lot of age to the face, but holds himself stick straight upright. He is not wearing monk clothes, although you can see elements to the shoes, although they've clearly been modified for him to kind of be barefoot. But elements of the shoes that resemble Zinni footwear. The rest is all crafter's leathers. This is Gamble. He turns and says, "You've come back very soon, Elanor."
Yeah, we took a quick flight out and decent landing. Got a little bit of work on, but ran into these folk. It seems like you all know each other.
Yes. I told you a bit of my niece who's been missing.
Ah, yes.
This is Shay.
Shay. Nice to put a face to the name. Well, I guess we accidentally found them.
Much appreciated. Shay, you've been gone for almost a week.
That's what Kodak said, yes. Not intentionally, it was only a day to us.
So you did spend some time in the Frostland.
We did.
Did you find whatever it was that you were looking for?
I'm like,
We did, though
back.
we lost quite a bit in return.
He looks around and kind of noticing the people that aren't there. He nods. Most of you don't see a change of expression, but there is just ever so slightly for you, knowing this individual as you do, a shift to his mood, but relatively minor. Well, you've brought new people as well.
Yes.
Hello.
This is Branna.
Are we
Gamble
the
brought
same
up.
size? Like,
He's maybe an inch or two shorter than you.
okay. I nod courteously to him.
He inclines his head slightly. What brings you here?
Do you wanna tell him or
One exposition later.
I give him like the broad strokes of how I came to be with the party.
He nods, and at the very end of this, he's going to say, what you said about, and you tell him about the individuals that you kind of saw when you were trapped.
Yes. Do I clock that? I mean, I know that Shay recognized the fabric, and we talked about that, so I would have, also like shared
Okay.
that bit.
So his eyes narrow at that. And he's going to turn and he's going to first look at you, but then addressing the whole group, he's going to say, in the time that you were gone, perhaps 3 days ago, because I can't find the actual time. Give me 1 second. The timing is important. 3 days ago, 5 members of the Ninth Path somehow managed to apparate inside of the library. They were looking for something. Luckily, Lore Master Boron, Meliora, and several others were present. They were able to stop this theft. We do not know what they were looking for, and the lore binders, have brought additional resources in to attempt to find out what it was. It seemed urgent. I wonder, could this be connected to the individuals mentioned by your friend or your new companion?
It possibly could, Uncle, and I'm going to relay in Zinni the experience I had going up into the tree before we burned it.
Gotcha. Okay. So for a brief period of time, there's a language that none of you speak. It sounds a lot like common, and in ways there's like a flow to the speech, but you get lost in these complex, it sounds almost like stories at times, and you get kind of lost in the flow. But he nods, kind of hearing you talk about these almost incubation pods that existed up in this tree. That is disturbing,
Quite.
to say the least. The Ninth Path returning means they found a way from Kalipsos back to the material plane. That also means they draw closer to their purpose.
It does.
In the time that you've been gone, things have gotten worse below. Dungannon has been attacked several times. The undead seem to be originating from the Sunchoker chain, somewhere within the mountains. I would almost guarantee originating from the Gated Marsh. I know that you all planned to go to the Badlands.
That was our last lead, yes. But if things have changed,
I think the only thing that has changed is the expediency in which you must go. Things have gotten much worse. You may want to check in with the allies that you have in Dungannon. They might know more.
Okay.
This ship will take you in a much more expeditious way most of the way to the Badlands. It will not travel within the warp itself. My recommendation would be to land somewhere near the Kuatar Dig and travel underground. Traveling in the desert will be dangerous, though with all of you, you could attempt it. To pilot this ship, I did find an individual quite capable, it would seem. Elanor, if you wouldn't mind, I do know that you are looking for something.
True.
Perhaps in a way, this might be a way to uncover what that is.
And, can't be any worse than things have gotten, so might as well.
There are no extremes. Things can always get more.
Yeah.
As he says that, I'm going to kind of interrupt into Gamble and come a little bit forward, having not listened to their previous conversation going on. Gamble,
Yes, Oakfeld.
I waited long enough. The goddess Green Matron, Mora herself, has led me through my dreams to this city. I've been here for quite a few days, and I've done many of your tasks, but I am still not sure of her purpose for me here. I beg of you, give me another job, and I will honor her.
You can see Gamble turns, he looks at you, he kind of like scans the group.
I know what's about to happen.
His eyes settle on Akka. And he smiles very faintly. And for you who know Gamble Overbrook as more than just the listener, but as somebody who at one point in his life was pretty chaotic, you know what that smile entails. He looks at you, Oakfeld, and he says, in their travels, Shay, Akka, and many of their companions have found trouble quite frequently. Akka especially seems to have a knack for finding himself in rough condition. Perhaps you could accompany the group and keep Akka safe.
I'm going to turn to them and I'm going to bow on my knees. Hello, my friends. I am Oakfeld. I hail from the mighty oaks of the Feywild. Banished and felled, once a great leader there, but I will retain my honor and return to my former status one day. I'll be honored to join with you.
Great.
I'll bow
This-
back.
yeah.
Then.
This reminds me, will you be taking Glub with you?
Yes, that was part of the agreement.
That is wonderful to hear. I think most of the members of our community will enjoy sleeping peacefully again.
I kind of clap Oakfeld in the back and be like, hey, you know, we flew a little bit together. Maybe we'll have a grander time this time.
As you do a
That
big cloud of
said,
dust.
Uncle, we do mean to begin our travels very quickly. Where is Glub?
He's on the northern wall.
Okay. And we will be loading up with supplies and most likely setting sail.
I will see that you have supplies for the journey. Where is it that you mean to head to?
Dungannon.
Very well.
Wait, Dungannon. And then the Badlands?
Shouldn't we check in with your people first?
I mean, I was just gonna try to contact them.
Then we go to the
If
Badlands.
If expediency is gonna help, then should just go straight for it.
Very well.
And with that, I am going to go away and try to contact the collective.
Sure, yeah. So you finding a different room. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But Akka turns and kind of scuttles off, kind of beginning to motion with something. Gamble turns back to all of you. I will make sure that the ship is supplied. Elanor,
Yes.
you have more experience in this than I. What is it that you will require for this journey?
Ooh, well, Dungan's not too far from here, at least as far as the continent goes.
Well, with a flying ship, it's much faster.
Mm.
Perhaps a
That-
day and a half.
Yeah, the Badlands, though, that's going to be a bit more arduous.
Yes, and I would advise packing for a longer ground journey once you land.
Will we have anyone extra to bring with us to watch the ship if we're going to be leaving alone for so long?
You certainly will.
Excellent. So,
Oh no!
well,
I mean, I guess he's like an alarm.
at the
You just can't turn it off.
Well, at the very least, we'll need the proper wear if we're going to be going from ice to desert. And I'm assuming if it's a swamp, there's going to be something poisonous. Seems appropriate. Alright, I'll make a list with you, and then we should be able to get something together.
Very well. Meanwhile, Akka, you go off to the side. How are you getting in touch with the collective?
Do I have the sending stone, or was that the one for getting in touch with Gamble?
So at
Because
the
I have
moment,
Sending Stone. I don't remember which one I had because I don't.
You did get one from Mr. Gift, so you
Okay.
have a Sending Stone from Mr. Gift.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull that one out
Sure.
because I think I also have the one that I had from Gamble.
You do.
Okay, so take out the one
Okay.
to Mr. Gift.
You take out the Sending Stone and kind of touching the familiar runes to it, you feel it activate.
Mr. Gift, are you there? Come in, Mr. Gift.
Hello, Akka.
I heard that things were not going well in Dungannon. Is everything okay?
We're okay. Things haven't been going great closer to the bridges and the entryways. A little bit more dangerous. We did discover that there was a vampire. You've been gone for some time and out of contact.
Long story. I ended up in the Feywild. Time moves differently. Felt like a day, but it's been a week. So a lot has happened that I'm now just getting privy to.
Well, to rehash what we've been doing, there was a vampire here. That's
Great.
where the vampire dust or the vampire blood was coming from.
That tracks.
They departed perhaps a week ago on a ship called the Glowing Tide, destined for far shore direct. So, a long voyage. I've turned my attention away, as they are going to be gone for some time. There are many dark texts going missing, as they were when you left, but they are very specific.
Do you...
I do have a list, and I can give it to you if you can return. I do know Drea has something for you as well. She had begun working on it. She was quite disgruntled. She said she'd given you a list of things to get, and you never returned with them. But she was able to accomplish. In your absence, I have sent Ogle 3 towards the Gated Marsh to examine the area, as he's from Ilmarsh.
Okay.
But if you can, please return soon. What Drea has, I
Whoa.
think, will help you quite a bit. She calls it an all-purpose tool.
Okay. Well, we were intending to go straight to the Badlands because it seemed like Dungannon was under siege.
We do get attacks, almost nightly. No longer just the undead walking the streets, but properly from the outside. They've enlisted many members of the Navy into the Guard, and that has helped. We've had many adventurers come to provide aid, and they are trying to hold them a little bit closer to the Sunchoker chain. We've had success in the last week, perhaps, since we've established outposts further beyond.
Okay. So, you're saying we should head to Dungannon before we face the Badlands?
You could piss Drea off if you like. I'm not telling you to do anything. At the moment, the assignment that you have is very important, so what you choose to do is up to you.
Okay. Well, it seems like while dire, we should stop by and reconvene for at least a day.
Very well.
So, could you give me the list of books? Because actually, I'm with a group of lore binders, and there was just a theft.
Fascinating. Yes, I can.
Or an attempted theft of presumably one of the books on your list. If I were to...
Do you
hazard
know
a
which
guess.
book?
No, but I can maybe... I mean, the lore binders don't like me.
Where are you?
We are in the city of Yorn.
There's like a silence for a good couple seconds. And then you hear him say, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Like of myth and legend.
Yes, that is the one. Yep.
Is it flying?
Yep. It's a couple thousand feet up.
You're not going to lead with that when you call.
I mean, given everything,
There are
that
some
is-
things that we've... It's okay.
It's been
It's
a
okay.
long day.
I understand.
It's been like a week of a day.
You've been busy. I understand.
Yeah.
Do you want the books?
Yes. I think that would be very helpful for right now. And we're going to be taking a flying ship back to Dungannon and should be there relatively soon.
When you say a flying...
A ship that flies.
So exactly as it sounds.
Yes, more or less.
Fascinating.
Yep.
I'm sure Drea would love to see that when you...
I'm sure you'll get a chance.
The books.
The books.
Breaking the Unbreakable is a treatise on destroying diotic metal. That one missing from Colteron, from the Silver Ring Repository. Celestial Seasons, a guide to the upper
I'm
planes.
mentally noting these, but
Sure, I'll
send me
you
that list later.
A guide to the upper planes was taken from the Cathedral of Light itself in Sarentil, the capital. Creatures of Calamities, which details several of the Titans of the Abyss. It was boosted from somewhere across the Emerald Expanse, in fact. And then Justice on Wings of Fire is a tale of an angel known as the Avatar of Justice. That went missing from our very own gosh, I made such hard words for these things. From the...
I thought you were going to say Asenlock.
The Ausenlock.
Okay.
Which is Elvish, because you guys made Elvish German in the very first...
Yeah.
That's so weird.
The Ausenlock is
Sorry.
a library of Emerald Spire scholars from across the Emerald Expanse, almost like a knowledge exchange program, although they don't share a whole lot of knowledge.
Like the lore binders.
Yeah, them and the lore binders are almost analogous for the different continents. Yeah.
Okay.
But those are the books that have gone missing. I also did get word from a colleague in the Fey Ancestry Museum of the Emerald Spire that there were other thefts occurring there. But those are the books that I have currently. I'm still researching more.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll check in on that when we get to Dungannon. Oh man, can you try to let her know that I tried, soften the blow a bit before we get there? I haven't gotten anything off of Drea's list.
No, she already got everything on her list. It took you so long that she just did it herself. She said it took her about 3 hours. Anyhow, when can we expect you back?
What did they say? 2 to 3 days?
Day and a half.
Day and a half? Be there in like a day and a half.
Wonderful.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm glad that you're all okay. And I guess we'll see you in 2 days.
Yep, we'll see you Friday.
Okay. Yep.
Also, because you guys are relatively new, one of the things that I learned early on, there is a full calendar for everything, and everything matches up. For the days of the week, it was too confusing to try to make up new days of the week.
I was about to make fun of you for saying Friday.
We have calendars, right? Like, so right now, it's Wednesday. It's about 8 o'clock
It is
on
the
Wednesday.
third fridge of... Yeah.
It is the 26th of the Claws of Sunset. So you're going to be moving into spring-like weather pretty soon.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
You guys are right at the tail end of winter.
Yeah. And what a harsh winter it
It
was.
was tough. It was not an easy winter. So he tells you that.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm glad we checked in. Sorry, it's been a week.
Again, aside from the things that I was looking for, which I found a few of, you're not on any particular assignment that is more important than the supposed end of the world. So,
Yeah, but
quite okay.
a week is a lot of missed stuff that's been happening. Okay, yep. See you in 2 days.
We'll see you then. Connection is terminated.
Hang up, and I'm just kind of like,
I like the idea that you have like a little sending stone that has a little cradle.
like I put my pod back in the little,
Yeah.
little case.
It's like your AirPod.
I have my
Your 2 sending
fancy
stones.
AirPod.
I love that. Oh, I'm going to design a sending stone headset. Absolutely, that's going to be an item.
Be careful not to get it stuck in your ear.
Yeah. So
take
in
the
the
earwax
meantime,
out.
is there anything else that you guys want to ask Gamble or talk to him about?
All right, Gamble.
Yes.
We've had the maid in flight.
Yes.
You've worked very hard in this ship. What's its name?
It does not have a name.
No, we haven't christened it yet. We
No.
need before she goes off onto grand journeys. What's her name?
Well, I'll leave that to you. You are the one who will be steering it.
think I'd probably make my way back.
Just
Sure.
please
Whenever,
nothing
you know.
with fingers.
You know, I hadn't considered it, but I'll mark it off the list for sure.
Prior to your arrival, there was a number of companions to Shay and Aka who had a strange fascination with fingers. So that is where that comes from.
I see. Well, I can assure you, I do not. Or whatever that's worth. It's been a weird few days here.
Yeah, it's not gonna get much less weird.
So excuse me for asking, but the Badlands, I haven't been, but how long do you plan on, how long will we be there? I mean, if we're gonna be gearing up.
Well, it depends on how long you last.
You
You
guys
see Gamble, he kind of narrows his eyes at that.
I mean, did you not tell them why we're going?
The reason that this group is going to the Badlands is to investigate word of a temple that has risen from the sands. Supposedly the resting place of Zystris. Does that name mean anything to you? You can make a history check if you want.
Yeah. I doubt it, but you know, it's... I don't think I have any. Sorry, I don't. It's an 11.
Never heard of him.
No.
Sounds elvish. But he tells you Zystris existed during the Second Age, an ancient being who pursued lichdom, everlasting life. He disappeared for a time, unsure of why. But after the reemergence of this temple, he was seen again and again. And as the dead begin to walk more and more readily, it would seem that he is the cause. So, investigating the temple, investigating this mind flayer.
Could be a day, could be forever, because you die.
you guys see Elanor is like, her smile doesn't really like budge, but you can see her. Okay. Right. Well,
I whisper to Elanor, you get used to him.
and I'm still just kind of also absorbing the fact that like all these different like I'm still not over like you with a giant axe.
I'm very small.
Yeah,
Also,
I'm just
so.
like, all right, well,
Pipe up and say, "No matter the danger, you have my pike." And I slam it a little bit on the ground.
It just kind of in the space.
I've been in my share of scuffles, but this seems on a grander scale.
Some might say cataclysmic. Or
We'll catch you up on the other
apocalyptic.
issues on the way.
Or world ending. You know.
We might need a few healing potions on that list, Gamble. From
That can
what
be
it's
done.
maybe a potion of sunlight if that exists.
Not something that we presently have. Alchemy is not something that many of us practice. We did have a number of mystics who pursued that art, but many of them have since departed.
All right.
I'm
fair.
okay at alchemy.
You're also not a Zindi monk.
I'm just putting out into the world. I'm gonna make a potion.
If you are intending to travel with Aka to Dungannon, it is a major city, as I'm sure you're aware. There are plenty of places that you could perhaps procure something of that nature.
All right.
So, very nice dock here. Are we... How
Do I know
good
of
do
Dungannon's?
you think you can land this in a city without this lovely dock?
So two things that are really interesting to you. First of all, you happen to know that there is something called a sky dock. This is not meant for sky ships. So in Dungannon, there are a series of docks, and to make it easier to connect them, there are like stairways that go up to these archways, almost like at trains, how there are those like little walkways that go over. They're docks almost in and of themselves elevated above. They're very high up. Not intended for that purpose. However, you probably could tie it up there. It will attract some attention. Additionally, Gamble is going to say, if there is no way to moor it somewhere in the air, a fantastic component of this ship, as long as you can furl the sails in once landing, it can sail on the ocean or a lake. The salinity shouldn't matter. It does displace a tremendous amount of water for its size.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
Well, I'll get that list going for you for our supplies, since it sounds like if things are truly cataclysmic, we'll probably be leaving at
As
pace.
soon as everything is loaded and set to go, we need to be moving.
Like, yeah. I told my people we're going to be there in 2 days.
Great.
I can
All right.
organize some assistance. We can have you moving in perhaps 3 hours.
Perfect.
I will probably help by just repairing the damage before we leave.
What damage?
I'll let you field this one, Captain.
Well, as you may know, sky ships have, the up and the down, which normal ships do not really do. So that was a little bit, what a little rough landing picking them up, but nothing that a little elbow grease won't spiff right up, I'm sure.
Thank you, Ara. That will be helpful. Have you seen it?
The damage?
Yes.
Yeah. I was surprised when I saw it because I thought that it had only been a day. But it's been a week and it looks great. Well, it looked
I meant
great.
the damage, not
Oh.
the ship.
The damage, I can fix it in a couple hours.
Splendid. So I'll leave that to you then.
I'll collect Glub and help you.
Glove. Right. Okay, well, I'm gonna go get started. See you all in, like, a few hours. I'll be at the ship. Okay.
And you see Akka just trudge out through the door. You hear the metal boots just click, click, click down the stairs. So is there anything further that you need?
I think that's all for me, Uncle, at least.
I will pull people together and we will begin the stocking process immediately. Elanor, whenever you're done with that list, I will take it and add it to whatever we do not have.
All right.
And so he bows slightly to your group and proceeds down the steps, very quietly, but fairly quickly. You are all now left alone in this room, with the exception of Akka. And what would you like to do? If you have nothing that you really want to do in this 3 hours, we can fast forward. If there's things that you wish to do, we certainly can.
I need to go collect Glub.
Okay. So you're going to collect Glub.
Out of the remaining people, I'm like, okay. Food. Water, obviously. Healing potions. So, as you've now enthralled me with your grand adventures, I heard the adventure about, like, the tree and everything at this point, when they were recounting to Gamble, or...
So if you told Gamble about that, then certainly, yes.
Okay. Would I, if not, then that's fine.
Yeah, no, I think we probably would have exposited.
Yeah. Gamble's one of the very few people that you tell most things to.
Yeah.
So,
I would have left Shay to do that, because
yeah.
Gamble doesn't like me.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. And so, is there anything that you would like to put on this list before I hand it off? Any particular things that you might need, Oakfeld?
I am good. All I need is the blessing of the Green Matron to get me by.
Wonderful. And she's gonna kind of just like write down like a general list of supplies that she
Okay.
can figure that she
Blessing
would
of-
probably makes sense.
Nature.
Dried meats, yeah. The only real request she's gonna have is like some sort of healing ability. Because it sounds like maybe extra, if there is something like an extra material, something the ship could hold to make those repairs. So like, good call.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So you put together a list, you add some supplies, both to repair the ship and to heal yourself. Some rations, basic, just kind of traveling necessities that you wouldn't normally already have. No trouble. Anything else?
I'm tinkering.
You're
that
tinkering
shit.
with
I'm
the ship.
fixing the
Okay.
shit.
I'll
I don't know
say,
if it's
given your
tinkering.
abilities, you can repair it, no problem. You're an artificer. It's relatively light damage.
Yeah.
Past a certain point, there is going to be checks involved in
The
repairing
question is, do I use tinkering tools to fix it, or do I use like carpentry tools or something?
it. Either would work.
Okay, because I
tinker-
have tinkering tools right now.
tinkering
but I would
tools are
do
going to
the
be
extra hour. To
certainly going to be more
change
helpful.
them. Okay, then I'll use
so
my
tinkering tools you want to
okay,
use in
I'll
general.
use my tinkering tools. I'll tink a little.
So you do that, no problem. Shay, you go up to the north wall, and as you climb a couple of steps to the end, the wall, relatively narrow up at the top, it kind of slowly crests from the interior corridor, it kind of comes up to the top of the wall where it's only about maybe 15, 20 feet wide. But you can see just kind of waddling in his huge cowboy boots with these large crafter's gloves and this oversized sweater, which you can see is actually different than the one that he left in. This one's like almost like a soft blue, but still, for whatever reason, whoever made it for him still made it the exact same size. It's like still like a big sweater on this little grung. But you could just see him kind of waddling forward, and he turns around and sees you, and you see in the darkness the large grung eyes kind of squint before he goes, "Oh, hi there."
Hi, Glub. Glub, I have a question for you. Would you be interested in joining us on an adventure?
Okay,
Great. Come with me.
okay. And he just starts waddling after you. No problem. So you have Glub and all 3 of his brain cells with you?
Perfect.
If you want.
He leveled up, so he's got 4 now.
It's only on odd number level ups, actually.
Um,
So for Glub, you have Glub. That's Grung. The rest of you, if you want. Anything else that you guys want to do before? Okay. We'll fast forward. Yeah, the stars slowly move overhead as time goes forward. About 11 o'clock at night for those of you keeping track. But then, ding, 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 ding. It's like the time fast forward. You see the stars kind of slowly crawl forward in the sky. A couple of clouds kind of cross. And before too long, you end up back at the ship. You can see a lot of supplies have been added. Gamble meets you all there. He's going to pass off to you. It's like a bandolier, a very nice leather belt. And attached to it are 3. So there is 2 potions. I wrote this down. Hang on 1 second here. There is 1 potion of superior healing. And then 2 potions, I believe, of greater healing. Although I wrote or. So I don't know if that's true, but I'll double check that during the break.
Okay.
I wanted to check about the books with the lore binders before we left.
Ah,
I
sure.
forgot about that.
No problem. So mid, ding, 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 you stop. And you head off to the library.
No.
Off at this, the large tent outside. Give me 1 second here. Go back to the library now.
To the library.
As you approach, this lorebinder who you had not met previously stands up from his chair. You can see he's a human. He is probably about 6 feet tall, kind of balding, not really gray hair in the darkness. I mean, you have dark vision. You can see it's like a very, very soft brown, but almost kind of balding away. Very angular features. The eye is kind of set into the skull a little bit more than most people's are. The jaw a little bit more forward, but he is wearing full lorebinder gear. You can see kind of like the leather armor that's stiff in the combat gear, but around his neck you see a heavy kind of golden chain and a very elaborate lorebinder crest attached to it. You've never seen somebody wearing this, and instantly, having spent time around the lorebinders, this is somebody of a higher station than you've met.
Okay.
Even for you who's had some dealings with the lorebinders in the past. And I would actually say, go ahead and make a history check. You may have heard of lorebinder, of Archivist Soul.
Oh, history?
Yeah.
That is a 15.
Yeah, don't really know anything about him, but for this individual, he kind of walks forwards, he holds up a hand, and he just goes, whoa. Where do you think you're going?
I'm with the Dungan Antiquities Collective. I was going to look for Lorebinder Boron. I have information that might be relevant to your attempted stolen books.
Lorebinder Boron. He works for me, all right?
Okay, hi, I am Aka with the Dungan Antiquities Collective.
I've heard of you.
Oh, wonderful. So...
Look, I'm going to settle with you right now. You're not allowed in the library, all right? We've had some trouble lately.
That's why I came, because I think that I might have some information that could help.
Well, I'm right here. What do you want?
I take out the list that I would, or I guess I tell him, like,
Sure.
do any of these books sound like things that they may have attempted to steal?
So you recite this list of books that you're given.
Or ones that are on your, in your collection.
So he
List.
nods. And you can see the eye's not really blinking. And he goes, look, you know this place is thousands of years old, right?
I mean, in your collection.
You mean back at the academy?
Yes.
I don't know.
But you're in charge, right? You don't know what's in your... You should find out if any of these are in your
There's
collection.
close to 2 million books. Can you remember 2 million of anything?
No, but if you have these, it would be very wise to add extra security to these particular books, because I suspect that the people who attempted to steal from your current setup are also after these and may attempt to steal them again.
Well, we're not really like the Dungannon Antiquity Collective, alright? We're not sitting in a sewer trying to guard a bunch of magical items covered in trash water.
Yes, you're nobly pursuing the knowledge of books that no one else gets to read.
But more importantly than that, it's guarded very carefully, alright? So you don't need to worry about our knowledge. That's secret. You're looking for something in a place you're not supposed to be. That's what I take issue with. I'll pass the information on to Lawbinder Boron, but it's not very helpful.
Well, I'm so glad that the partnership with the Lorebinders proves fruitful to both you and the Dungannon Antiquities Collective.
You came to me and you read me a bunch of books, a bunch of titles. So that's not really providing anything
Well-
to me. Is there a trade that you want to make? Is something valuable? Maybe I missed something. But to me,
Well, to me, if I found a list of books that someone came and said, these are important books, they are the ones that the people that just tried to steal some of your books are trying to steal, I would maybe want to, like, find out what those books are about. If we have any, where they are, so we can keep a close eye on them.
make an insight check.
24.
All the things that you're saying make sense. And the fact that he hasn't really reacted in a surprised way, or even really, you would gather that he has this knowledge already.
Great. Well, I am leaving. I'm just mid like starting to get frustrated with this guy. I'm just gonna be like, see that he's like not responding at all, and just walk away.
As you walk out, you just hear in the distance, "Have a good night, Akka."
Yeah, you too.
You hear that as he pulls a chair out and sits down. Very fruitful.
Why does everyone hate Akka so much?
To be fair, that guy, and you've met him a little bit, he's kind of like that to everybody. That's the one guy that's kind of like that to everybody. Everybody else does hate Akka, and that's for other reasons, but actually,
Mostly justified.
not everybody hates you. Mr. Gift likes you. Drea
Tolerates
tolerates
me.
you. So, you all now meet back at the ship. A very frustrated Akka, a very unfrustrated Glub, very uncomplicated Glub. Gamble meets you there. He gives you the potions.
Thank you, Gamble. But okay, hear me out. The winds of change. Too much? How do you feel?
The name for
name
the
of-
ship.
For the ship. Yep.
Winds of Change.
Winds of change. Winds.
It's poetic.
Too much? I know it's kind of like, kind of out there. But I figure, we're on a sky ship. If we're gonna have like a really over-the-top name,
It's a short
Now's the
name,
time.
but it's a fine name.
we can
I
can
like
workshop it.
Brenna kind of claps you on the back. I like it.
All right.
I do not care. I'm just gonna go onto the ship and be like,
So you climb the ladder, no problem getting on board.
and
Winds of
I
change.
sit back down the same spot that I sat before, just kind of like,
Oh.
Just right back where
Just
you
like-
were.
2 days until I get absolutely torn into.
Yeah, and you're like, you know what? I mean, at least you have this 2 days to kind of like, rest between
like,
them.
this is my rest time.
And then all of a sudden you see this blue face pop up. And, hello. Glub, this grung just kind of climbs on. He like gets a leg up and kind of slides off, gets a leg up again. The boot is like too stiff and slides off. And you hear him go, no, careful, don't touch me because I'm poisonous, but could you help me up?
I'm gonna kind of up.
I was gonna just levitate him up mine style.
As you begin to levitate,
I just stare at him and just like he starts to move. Like,
and Shay, surprisingly light is Glub. As you lift him up, he just kind of moves up and he goes, oh, here I am. Takes a couple steps forwards and just kind of, anybody sitting here? And he sits down right next to you with the whole ship open.
you are now.
So I am. The rest of you, one by one, can make your way onto the ship.
Does the ship have like an under section, or is it
Certainly
too?
does. So
Okay,
you can
good.
see on the floor of the ship, there's like a little, kind of like a little hatch. There's space enough to crawl down there. It really is only about 3 feet tall. It's meant for storage. Some of your members can certainly comfortably sit down there. One really in particular.
2. Glub could.
Yeah, Glub. That's true. Glub could. Glub.
Is Glove about Brenna sized?
Glub
Makes
is
me
smaller than Brenna.
Glub's
No.
like,
Glub's tiny.
Glub's like 2 feet tall.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Which
I
is
have a
tall
mini for
for
him
a
actually.
grung, right?
I'll grab that during the break. But you guys all now aboard the ship.
He looks like a raisin.
Yeah, so he's a very... Oh, yeah, right. We have the art coming for him. I have the rough draft. I'll show you guys at the break. It's great. Thank you so much for Sophie Bischoff for doing that for us. It's... Oh, my God. It's stupendous. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. Anyways, you now all find yourselves aboard the Winds of Change. Winds of Change. Plural. I'll have to write that down. One second here. So taking a little bit of time, Elanor, is there anything else that you want to say to your newfound crew before you guys take off?
The only thing I'm really going to do before we go is kind of thank Gamble once for the opportunity to fly the ship in the first place, because this is a truly unique experience, and also for all of the supplies. And she's going to try to offer some sort of like, monetary, just because it's so awkward to her to not have to not give some sort of cash over.
Yeah.
This is very like a foreign concept to Elanor.
So you kind of take out some gold pieces. He sees what you're doing, and they'll say, amongst us, we don't exchange currency, but we do work to help each other out. You arriving was fortuitous. We needed somebody, Morwen, the person who was originally going to steer this ship, no longer with this group. And so, very fortuitous for you to arrive when you did. It is possible to steer this without knowledge, but difficult, as you saw. Thank you for your help. If you can keep the group safe, that's payment enough.
Right, I'll do my damnedest.
He leans into you and says one thing. Glub screams in his sleep. Try not to be too alarmed. It happens pretty regularly. Apologies.
Thank you for the warning.
He stands up straight. You turn, you just see this like smiling blue grog with these little he's based off of like the worst frog. But it's like these little how do you describe it? Quills almost that come out.
It's like, oh god, it pretty much just looks like hair. But
It's like sideburns. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
not
The
good.
dwarf could be a frog.
Yeah. Really a literal
If like an
translation.
old, gross dwarf was a frog.
Nice.
Yeah, an old, gross, really like weirdly skinny, scrawny, shriveled up old dwarf was a blue frog.
He was basically Master Roshi, but a blue frog. So all of you now aboard the ship. You thank Gamble. Gamble tells you all this kind of stuff. If you want, without any issue, you could take off and begin your trip to Dungannon.
Any last needs?
Anybody used the bathroom before we go?
Wait, there's not one on the ship.
Oh no.
We're gonna be up for multiple
everywhere's the
days.
bathroom. Find a side.
We have the chamber pot in the back of the ship.
This is the thing where, like, you know, you're like flying over a city and you just dump it over. It's terrible.
So it's like, I'm having
Oh,
a great
God.
day today.
I have a great story to tell you guys about when I was like, I have an awesome story to tell you guys at the break.
Damn it.
Anyways, it's about me puking out of a moving airplane.
Oh.
Yeah, spoiler for everybody else there. You guys don't get to hear the story.
Okay, this is a completely irrelevant question, but
Excited to hear it.
no one knows the silence spell in the Zinyi Monastery.
Seems like they're not going to use it on an unwilling creature, even if he is annoying.
Guess so.
Technically, there's probably not many left who would be
Also
spellcasters.
true. There are people within the Lorebinders who could probably do it, though. It's just kind of a waste of a spell slot when you've been assaulted recently by a bunch of monks.
I don't know, but like, rest is best.
You guys will have to experiment with that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Taking off from Yorn, this cloud giant city, it's close to midnight. So with stars overhead, the first thing that you need to do is pass through the massive bank of clouds that separates Yorn from the air beneath, the mountains, the snow. You can't really see through them, so that might end up being a little difficult, especially at night. But as you first dive into them, it's like cotton candy. It's light, fluffy. It's easier to steer through this than it is through an ocean, if not for the fact that you can't really see. That being said, from where you are, with a valley beneath, there shouldn't really be any obstacles. You progress for 5 minutes with the wisps of cloud brushing by any of you standing on the deck. Glub and Brenna, you guys are the only people who can really fit below deck, so if you wish, you're welcome to go down there amidst the grain and the other things that have been supplied for the journey.
You say it's about 40 feet long now?
The ship,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly, it's 45 feet long,
Okay.
not counting the sails in the back.
Cool.
After another 10 minutes goes by, the gray gets a little bit darker. It's a little harder and the wind picks up. The deck becomes pretty chilly, even for those of you wearing cold weather gear. And you can hear the ship kind of creak and kind of move underneath you. And all at once, all of a sudden, you get buffeted by a strong wind. But because it's 10 o'clock, this is where we're going to take our break, and we'll come back with what that means. So it's 10:04. We're going to step away for about 10 minutes. Call it 15 minutes. We'll be back at 10:20.
Parachutes part of the inventory we
You
got?
didn't ask for it. We'll see you at 10:20. welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us through the break. If you did so, if you're just joining us, welcome. We'll just jump right back into our D&D game here. So when we left off, I'll change the music too. A little more appropriate adventure music.
Now that we're about to go careening to our deaths.
I was about to say, we all get to guess what's about to happen based on the music that Joe chooses.
How many times
change
will
it.
I
Is
be
it gonna
rolling
be-
the die?
I feel like it's gonna be a roll for initiative.
There's only
But,
been like
like,
2 dice rolls.
Also, maybe skill checks within the initiative to not crash. I don't know. This is gonna be okay. This doesn't sound too bad. This is okay.
The first one I put on just because you said that. So, you begin breaking through the fluffier clouds, kind of moving through the gray as it sweeps by the deck of your flying ship. It does take all of you a little bit to get used to the fact that with these sails and the wings, it almost does flap, and so there is a gentle rise and fall in ways like the ocean, but in ways very different. There is no kind of like careening motion, it's just up and down. As the clouds grow thicker and the wind picks up, suddenly the ship is buffeted by a powerful gust.
That was good.
I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
All right.
24.
20.
11.
19.
22.
Wow, really good.
Brenna goes careening off.
Who had a 24?
I had a 20.
I had a 24.
24. So, Brenna, this wind,
Flash of genius to add 5 to Brenna's seeing her starting to slip.
fantastic. As
Have my
wind
wing boots.
buffets this place,
Just like a
you-
little like psionic.
with your small body, the wind just scoops you off the deck. In this moment, you kind of grab for the railing, and as you grab out, Aka's hand finds yours in the darkness. He's able to kind of hold on and swing you back down to the deck. With that, and with all those successes, and with me turning the music down just a tad, suddenly the ship bursts through the cloud cover, and though the wind is extreme, you see the landscape sprawling out beneath you. You see, in the darkness, beneath you, icy fields of the Valley of Igor. Still kind of loud. To the north. There we go. A little better, a little better. To the north, you can see snow-topped trees from the Owlwood that expand to the foothills of Mount Taram far, far in the distance. To the east, looking out, you can see huge pines and elms of the frost line that you had traveled just recently. And from this angle, and with the little elements of starlight that you can see from breaks in the clouds, you see hints of snowflakes that seem to fall up from that fey-touched place. South of you all, there is a lake, once a mountain. Now that the entirety of the landscape has been shifted, you can see icy crust on the edges of an otherwise serene purple-blue lake. The river of colors, now diverted slightly, continues beyond, noticeably cleaner than it had been previously. No longer a river of colors, in fact. The color now kind of dumping into this pond. To the west, the direction that you all head in, you see there are peaks of mountains that make up the border and the towers kind of within the Dominion lowlands. You continue to move, and over the course of the next couple of hours, this landscape falls away. The mountains, no longer mountains, but giving way to plains of grass, brown and dead from the ends of winter. Over this 4 hours, is there anything that you guys are doing?
What time of day is it? It's late,
When you
right?
begin, it's midnight. So over the course of this time, like early morning.
I'm gonna
Tired?
Yeah.
use this 4 hours to do my meditation. Just
Yeah.
like find a spot on the
So
ship.
as soon as you get through the cloud cover and things stabilize a little bit, you just settle in for a sleep and no
For a-
problem.
to sit and think for 4
So
hours.
don't mark off a rest yet,
Yeah.
but you're
You're
doing
attempting for a long rest.
that. Okay. You begin the process of a long rest. You are steering the ship,
I'm fine. Yeah.
so that's what you're doing. Brenna?
I think Brenna's a little unnerved at having been almost blown off the ship, so she crawls down below into that space and crawls up and tries to take a nap down there.
As you crawl down there, you see the little blue grub kind of bunched up in the corner He's just like sitting there, his knees, the boots kind of pulled up, his arms around them, and he just looks at you and goes, "Hello, I'm Club. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, dude.
Don't touch my skin. It's really poisonous, and it will make you have diarrhea."
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna take a nap. Don't touch me.
Okay. You just hear for the next like solid hour this faint. And
Do I have to roll to see if I can fall asleep?
After about an hour, sleep finds you.
And then...
Do not mark off a long rest.
No.
Oh, no.
What are you doing there,
That's
Oakfeld?
the question.
I would probably
So
be
that choice.
right at the front of the ship, maybe near the mast. Maybe kind of doing like a little Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio with my arms out.
Yeah.
And if you look ever so slightly, you can see me leaning left and right.
Elanor, as you steer the ship from the front, you kind of turn around and you can see Oakfeld is just standing behind you, eyes closed, just kind of open to the wind, for what it's worth. Okay. After 4 hours pass, you can mark off a long rest.
Oh, good.
The mountains fall away beneath these plains. You can see here and there small kind of bits of broken trees and shrubs. And Elanor, as you're kind of steering and looking down, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay.
Looking at the landscape as it passes beneath you.
Oh, nat 20.
Nice.
Okay.
And then where is
Natural 20.
Yeah.
In this moment, the clouds overhead part, and with the full moon overhead, you have great visual on what's beneath. As you exit the Sunchoker chain, the central chain of mountains that runs through the center of Dominion, you see beneath you, charred and burned, a small village. You smell stale smoke, old, this burning. And as you squint, you do see people wandering through the grass around it. But with a natural 20, as the moon kind of hits, you see bright white tops of skulls and molding flesh falling away. These are undead, and they trudge west towards Dark Meadow, this town that you'll actually pass over on your way to Dungannon. Another hour goes by, and as you look over here and there, you're seeing more and more of these creatures. Pockets at first, maybe 1, 2, then all of a sudden you're seeing pairs, and 3 or 4 of them at a time. But this entire plain seems to be relatively infested with these undead. Not as it was the last time that you passed through this general area.
Is it like horde? Just...
Another hour goes by.
Yes.
You find your way maybe an hour outside of where you know Dark Meadow to be. I don't know if you've been there, but it is north of Dungannon. You'd definitely be aware of it. It's a cattle town in the middle of this plains region. But probably about an hour outside of that, there's a huge mass of these undead creatures. With that natural 20 still, you see them shifting and writhing around a much larger version of those skeletons, standing maybe 18 to 20 feet tall. Through the snow, you see a long trail where a club has been dragged, and there's maybe 12 of these smaller creatures around it. You see, as you pass, with the natural 20 again, far off in the distance, maybe a half an hour away at the pace that these creatures are moving, is the beginnings of like a ridge line. And beyond that, you see like forest beginning, and then beyond that, even you with the beautiful overhead moon, you can see the hints of bits of smoke rising from the chimneys of Dark Meadow, maybe 45 minutes away.
Oh, no.
But they definitely approach.
Is Oakfeld still behind me?
Up to you.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably out there still in the wind.
Yeah.
Alright. Oakfeld, I think we might want to let the others know we might have a bit of an infestation going on around here. And if we're going to need to park the ship eventually, and I can't fly straight through for 2 days, but this might be a problem. And I kind of like gesture my head towards the giant zombie creature and kind of point towards that's the next closest town where I was kind of hoping to make a pit stop.
You're downstairs or you're on the deck?
No, I'm on the deck.
Yeah, at this point, your long rest has passed, so definitely hear this.
I'd probably be like, what?
I'm gonna say,
and go to the side of the ship and look down and be like, what?
And so you look behind, you see this huge skeleton and a big mass of skeletons, zombies, just general undead kind of moving with it. Interestingly, as you move, they are behind you. And now, suddenly, as you look down, the field kind of clear. This seems to be like the edge of the infestation. And as you pass and you see these going behind, you turn towards Dark Meadow. With your perception check, you can see, as you draw a little bit closer to the ridge, little bits of smoke coming from there as well. And as you get a little closer, you see a campfire. You see 5 humanoids maybe kind of gathered around it. You remember Gamble, or who was it that told you about this? You remember that Archivist Salk had told you a little bit about there being outposts set up. Or no, sorry. Mr. Gift had told you that outposts have been set up outside of Dungannon. This might be one of the more northern versions of that. It's certainly like a perimeter little guard station.
Do they seem like they are completely unaware, and is this horde approaching them?
Make a perception check. Certainly. If you travel straight, they're basically going to follow in your wake in about 30 minutes.
Natural 20.
Natural 20?
Oh, we are
Yeah.
see
a
him.
number of things.
Seeing stuff.
Oh, actually, that's an advantage too. Natural 20.
So you can see a little bit clearer. In this ridge, there's an archway of red brick stone that kind of breaks away from the ridge. And in this archway, they've erected simple wooden barricades. There's like actually maybe half a dozen figures that are set up around this. You didn't see them before, but there was one person cooking around the fire. And then up on the top of the ridge, hard to notice that you didn't see him before, a figure in a bright red trench coat. Seems to have almost like a pilgrim-style hat on, and just kind of watching. And of all the individuals down there, this is the person that seems to look up, seeing your ship kind of approaching on the horizon.
We getting him a heads up or moving on?
I'm going to pull out the necklace of loud talking.
Okay.
oh, nice.
And try to use... that is thaumaturgy. Yeah. And I'm going to try to shout down to him. Be like, there's a horde coming!
All of a sudden, for all of you trying to sleep beneath deck, for all of you trying to find rest out on the deck, and for the two of you, there is a impossibly loud boom of Akka's voice as it is amplified through magic, through this necklace, and it explodes across the plains. Coming. Just echoes out into the clouds and the darkness. You see the figure start all the way across on this ridgeline.
Okay, you heard me.
You see all of the individuals gathered at the campfire stand up suddenly. You can see somebody suddenly put something over the fire to put
I'm
it
going to,
out.
like, point in the direction that they're coming from
Okay.
and try to get them to see, like, can they... hopefully they can see me. Maybe use one of my little tinkerings to give all light so that they can see the light.
Okay.
And try to point them in the direction of where
So
it's coming.
you hold up a hand and making some gestures, creating this beautiful calligraphy in the air. Suddenly, the little ribbons of magic become light, and you can see illuminated your hand.
I'm going to be like, that direction! How many people, or how many zombies did it seem like? I'm going to be like, how many did you see?
It would look one big one and a ton of small ones.
Dozens, yeah.
Dozens. We're talking true
Multiple
hordes.
dozens! Over there!
You kind of fly overhead. At the moment, you're probably about like 100 feet off the ground. Do you want to get closer?
Seeing that he's just like easily screaming to the night, I'm just gonna like gently start to get a little bit closer to the ground, trying to stay above the tree line,
Okay.
so there's no issue there. But just in case they try to signal us back, we might
No
be
problem.
able to
Yeah,
get a
make
better
a
chance.
check if you're going to try to get right above that tree line. That is a little trickier.
Is there...
Don't.
I'm going to look... Is there anywhere to land? Because it seems like we're landing
Sure.
to me.
Would you roll?
A 3.
So, Akka, you're like, is there anywhere to land? You look out and you see this tall mesa. It would be perfectly sized for the ship. If you just settle it down nice and gently. But you're coming at it kind of hard. And all of a sudden, like, everything replays. What are you doing?
Wait, what?
You remember the ship colliding with the dock, and it looks like this is about to be the exact same kind of land.
Apparently, I never learned how to land. We're
I guess
working on that
I'm gonna
bit.
try to flash of genius it to not crash. Give it a +5.
All right, so that makes it a total of.
8.
8.
At the last minute, you pull up slightly, lessening the impact.
Oh, thank goodness.
Bracing
Oh no,
myself.
you guys are fine.
Oh.
So, the ship takes 7 points of damage as it kind of collides with the mesa. Snow thrown up, rock thrown up. This individual that you'd been signaling to dives out of the way, kind of rolls, and you see him almost fall off. He kind of grabs onto the side. You see this silver dagger suddenly appear, just complete pure silver, and into the snow where he kind of holds himself on the edge of this mesa. The ship, with the whole front of the prow, maybe 15 feet beyond, right over the edge, and then comes to a stop. Glub in the bottom and you both kind of smushed to the front. You see Glub just go, I think something happened.
I just kind of, without touching his skin with my skin, I push him off me and clamber up top and
Okay.
see what's going on.
You hear this kind of clang as he falls down. He tries to right himself, but you clamber up, no problem. As Brenna pops up, all of you now see yourself on the deck of the ship. You are on top of a mesa itself, close to maybe 16 feet tall. Below the prow of the ship is just the ground, maybe 20 feet below. Kind of hangs precariously. The individual in red pries himself back up to his feet and approaches all of you.
Sorry, still working on landing.
Oh my god. Jeez, yeah. Get in. You're from Dungannon? Get in.
We can't get in. I'm not from Dungannon. I'm from the Bloodroot Sanctuary, but
Bloodroot Sanctuary?
don't worry about it.
Well, you are aware of the situation happening vis-a-vis the dead hordes of...
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're holding for Dark Meadow. He turns and he gestures down the side, and you see in this little campfire, there's 4 individuals, all wearing kind of like really rough makeshift like leathers, and they have kind of short bows. One guy has an axe. They kind of wave. You see one person just go, hey. He turns and just says, we rallied a militia together in Dark Meadow, and we're here to hold this point. There's a few more of us scattered along the ridgeline. Just
There's about 48, 24 undead.
I wasn't counting, but would you say they're orc? Like an orc skeleton, essentially?
There was at least 1 or 2 orc skeletons, but all manner of undead. The big one that you saw, probably a giant.
Giant? Like, ooh, like big. Okay.
Like hill giant, maybe. Yeah.
All right. So, well, we got our normal fare of the little guys, but there was a giant coming your way. Might as well at least give you that heads up.
Giant undead. Can you handle it?
Well, he kind of looks at all of you. He looks down at the 4 guys. You see the other guy again go, hey. Just wearing like makeshift leather gear.
So hop in?
I can't just abandon a town.
Well,
If we don't stop it, it's going to reach Dark Meadow, and then what are we going to do then? You're going to drop us off in a town just to get attacked later?
I'm going to interrupt Akka. My fellow friend and soldier, I will reach out and I will see that the Green Matron protects us and you in this moment. We will join you.
We're already here.
I
Half hour behind us?
Yeah,
Plus or
about a half
minus,
hour.
yeah.
I say just kind of like to the group, like, I think we can spare an hour to help these guys out before we go on our way. Surely we can do that.
Are any of you magical? We could get the high ground. I have a sword. So I gotta fly this thing.
I can use
In
a
a
little bit of
wild kind
magic.
of way.
Not that kind of magic.
hi.
I have the magic of luck, and I pull out 3-leaf clovers and hand them to each of the party member. And then I look at my scroll of list of good fortunes, and I cross it right off. And then look under and see 4-leaf clovers, and produce 4-leaf clovers. but keep it for myself.
Fantastic. So all of you can add a 3-leaf clover to your inventory.
I certainly will.
I'm gonna just drop it on the ground.
I'm gonna tuck it away. My covenant.
Fair enough.
Like,
Eleanor's had too weird of a week.
Are you giving one to this guy?
Everyone. The
Okay.
green matron blesses everyone with good fortune.
He
of
takes
the
it and he says, "I'll take about all the help I can get." And I've seen weirder things, so he tucks it onto his lapel.
And they're fresh too. You don't know how they're so fresh, but it seems like they just sprouted.
Yeah, he doesn't question it at all. He's not real smart. If you guys can't help, I'm authorized to deputize people. We can offer you payment upon completion. We could figure out something that's going to be fair, or even better, you guys all look like a bunch of adventuring types. If you do go back to Dark Meadow after, you can help yourself to things in the armory. We have some things that are quite powerful. We don't have anybody. He looks down over the side. You see the guy again. He's about to say hey, and the other guy kind of elbows him and goes, "You already said hey twice." He goes, "We don't really have people capable of using that level of material, so kind of collecting dust in the armory. Stuff left over from the Grey Fang incursion.
At the very least, a warm bed.
how could
would be
we
nice.
refuse?
Certainly, we can provide that."
We're already here.
All right.
We're already here. Right. So you like 24, 48.
I would say probably on the higher end. But if we can take out the giant at least, maybe it'll disperse them. They seem to be following it, so it'll give us something.
So
They're
I haven't
attracted-
seen a giant skeleton before. That's new. We've been getting 2 or 3 coming through a night, just kind of picking them off as they come. But that kind of number is different.
Yeah.
They're attracted to the larger force.
That would make sense. All right. Well, you said about half an hour, so how are we setting up here?
well, we should build some blockades if we can. How far away were they? Like roughly how long do you
30 minutes.
We have
30
about 30
minutes.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
25 minutes.
Set up some blockades. We can take the. I mean, are we already up
Yeah.
above?
Certainly are.
Okay.
How high
So
up
don't
are we?
need blockades.
About 16 to 20 feet up.
Oh, solid.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're pretty solid up.
I guess focus the giant.
Roughly how far is this from Tuscan itself? Like, the outpost itself, is it like just
It's,
outside, a little bit out there?
Probably another. It's close to an hour outside.
Okay, so like we're not like right next to it. So if this goes
No.
awry, it's not like we're going
You still have
crushing a
some
town.
space, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Alright.
who knows? Who knows how awry it could go? You guys have a flying ship, so you can go awry at range. But we'll see.
Is the ship currently at risk of tipping at any point? Is it like teetering
If
on the
you were
edge?
all to go to the other end of it, it would probably cause a problem.
I could
Okay.
I could take another round and practice parking.
I don't know if now is the time to practice parking.
I mean, I could pull it back from the edge.
Just a second. And Arkwent is
Throw it
going to
in
walk over
reverse.
the edge, and you hear him call out, "Two of you, start building some barricades on the other side of this archway. We got more company than we were expecting." And you see 2 of them just kind of hop up and start building barricades. Take some saws. You can already see some trees have been felled for fuel. They start moving things out and kind of stacking things up.
Okay. Can you get some of your guys to help just... Is the ship heavy enough that we wouldn't be able to just, like, hoist it back so it's not tipping over?
You don't have a belt of stone giant strength. It'd be pretty tough. As a group, if you all wanted to work together, you could certainly try.
Not worth the time. Okay, no one go in the ship.
I was gonna say if we just don't touch
Yeah,
it,
just
it'll
don't
be
go
fine.
in the ship until we have to leave.
You hear a muffled, "Okay," and then from the top, you see Glub just kind of climbing out of the deck.
No, you
put,
stay
little
in the ship.
buddy.
You go back downstairs. Don't go to the front.
Alrighty then. And he just kind of waddles back.
Right at the bottom.
You hear a muffled, "All right."
Alright, so the barricades they're making, are they like more in front of where the forces are going to be approaching?
Yep. So
Okay.
so the way it is right now, you actually do have a great defensive position. Ridges that kind of line up. There's just one big archway that you can see that is about 10 to 12 feet wide. Through that archway is the only real easy way forward, at least where you can see. You did hear that there was multiple positions, and so probably somewhere else on the ridgeline there are
Further
other
down.
ways in. Yeah. But for right now, this seems to be the only entry in visual range.
I'm going to walk over to it and just put my hand into the soil, and I'm going to mostly just feel it a little bit, and I'm going to cast plant growth.
Okay.
But I want to cast it at probably a range. I have 150 range with it.
Okay.
So I want to cast it not too close to us, but a little bit close enough. I want to say maybe 60 feet, maybe 50 feet out from us.
Okay.
So it gives us some buffer room in case we have to get close, but still enough to slow them down where we can get some planning going.
Fly over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Magic types. All right.
what you see around the area, there are trees, big trees. In this area, you see fir trees mostly for what it matters. These massive trunks already, quite thick. You see areas along the bark that kind of split, along where there would already be little ridges, and vines begin to protrude from there. And you can see they wrap around, and the people kind of back up from the barrier because the barrier gets almost consumed, and it becomes just one larger structure, almost impossible to tangle. And then all at once, these little thorns appear on one side.
As I'm dropping the dirt, I whisper to it, "Goddess of fortune, smile at me once more and spin thy wheel."
You see Arkwith suddenly just go, throw the clover away. But you say that. This plant growth explodes across the area. You do a good job fortifying the front, so much so that there are really now barricades in the front and behind the entrance. It feels very secure.
What is there for raw materials around, like
Wood,
rocks,
stone, snow. There's a campfire. There's a metal pot above the campfire with a little bit of stew in it left.
Throughout this point, I'm going to use the maker to help shift bits of this up into almost a funnel to like drive them into a single point.
Okay. So you watch as Shay pulls out this beautiful staff. In ways, the entire thing almost like filigree with these points of light that exist within. And as you gesture, motes of light kind of float out, and you see the snow move, as if being moved by large invisible hands. And as Shay gestures, these things kind of form and change into these barriers of snow and stone. It looks almost as if Shay is creating things out of just raw material. And as you move, you can make it even more complicated. Some of the wood kind of weaves together to form bracing structures. You see that guy that was like, hey, is just dumbfounded. Before, he was looking at the plant growth and like wild. They were kind of gathered together and like pointing. He turns and watches as you move the staff, and like a wall of snow just... and he is just dumbfounded by this. Just watches you for the entirety of this process. That's probably... so that's what the two of you are... Is anybody else doing things to kind of prepare for this assault?
Are there more stones left over?
Yeah, they're in the wild.
I see.
Roll a bunch of big stones over to the edge. We'll go hold them off. If they start to climb up, put the rocks over the edge.
Awesome. Love it.
I'll start working on that.
Make a nature check or a survival check, your choice.
And I'm gonna start moving
Make
rocks.
a nature
with
check or
my-
a survival check, your choice.
Survival. 12?
12, okay.
No, 13. Sorry. 6 was up.
Thank God.
See, I don't even know. 18.
Okay, not bad, not bad. In total, up on top of that mesa, you find 5 very large stones. Large enough that they're a little bit of effort to move over, and they'll definitely do damage pushing them off. You kind of line them up along the ridge.
Alright. Which of you are close range fighters? I'm trying to like assess to see if I can get an idea of what these people's skills
I'm
are.
close range, and I take my axe off my back, and I'm like, ready.
Maybe we should try to hold them off and take the front line. I can fire from above.
Well, we have the 3 healing potions, right? Do any of you have the ability to heal, either yourself or others?
I think I'll be okay.
The Green Matron provides for all in this party, and I will provide through her.
Do you want one of the potions?
Simply yes or no.
I I hear you.
I love that.
But do you also need one of these potions?
I need not your potions.
All right.
I'll take one, says Brennan.
So I'm gonna hand over. Did we decide if it was the one superior and one greater, or
One
two?
superior, two greater.
It is one superior, two graders. Okay. I'll hand over one of the graders. So either of you two. Do you want to keep one on you just in
need it
case?
for yourself?
Well,
I mean,
I have a little bit of
pass up
range,
free
but
potions, but
I have a little bit of range, but not a ton. But
okay. Well, why
I don't want anyone going down.
Maybe we should scout ahead, and I'll take one just in case, but maybe get a better sense,
All right.
and then I'll fly back and, try to do some collateral damage on the
You
way.
can see Arquenth, who's kind of with you guys as you make this conversation, pulls up from his side this large, it's a heavy crossbow. And you can see there are symbols kind of filigreed into it. The handle has almost like barbed wire wrapped around it. And so as he holds it, you can see his skin is torn, where his hand is like just scarred over years and years of use. And as he grips it and the blood begins to kind of drip down, you see elements of this bow begin to kind of glow. And all of a sudden there is a radiant light attached to this crossbow. But he gestures beyond and he goes, I think we're out of time for that. And as you turn and look, you can see on the horizon, now in the very early morning sun, with the first kind of rays rising in the east, the elements of undead approaching very quickly.
Oh, crap. I'm gonna, I guess, I'll draw them into range, and then if they get close, anyone who can get close, and I'm gonna haste and fly off in the direction to go try and, out of their range, pester them with some, magic and draw them,
Okay.
try to throw a volley before they get into crossbow range.
If that's what we're doing, then I need everybody to roll initiative.
Damn it!
All right.
One
To use
sec.
blistering magic.
We can have you do that before the
I
start.
can do it
of the-
before. Okay.
14 plus
That's good.
17.
Hang on one sec. Hold on to that number.
Yes,
I need you guys to make some space on the table. This is large.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
The gummies. The gummies now.
Okay.
Can we use the gummies in combat?
You can eat the gummies while you're in combat.
Is that our healing potions?
Tina, can you, or Alana, could you pass me the folks?
The folks?
The people's.
Put all
This
of
might take
us.
a little team.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
You've outdone yourself.
Oh,
I am-
damn. All right.
This is
Yeah.
actually the simplest build that I've made in a while. I'm just careful because this opens up a little bit. It's like
Yeah, I got a hand on the bottom.
Okay, you guys got that?
Yep.
Okay, I'm letting go.
Alright.
So you guys can place yourself wherever you want.
So
Did have some time to set up.
we
So
landed
the
up
ship
here.
is up there. It's hanging about 10 feet off on the northern side. North is where the cameras are.
Okay.
Let me switch over to there. That's pretty good. I can't wait till we don't have to move the cameras anymore. It's gonna be so
That'll
nice.
be pretty good
I
too.
know, I'm so excited.
All right, so this.
So we're on this
this
side.
So yeah, you can put the ship up. Yeah, perfect, exactly.
right there.
Listen.
Fantastic.
We'll put landing gear in this thing. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to get some like little wheels to put down.
I think I would have set myself up on top of the arch.
Okay.
Right here.
Yeah, why
I'm
not?
gonna put myself close to the ridge just so I can hopefully have a decent view down.
Sure.
This is Krotic, right? Is he with us?
He is, yes.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna start.
Oh
up
no,
here.
sorry, he didn't. He was with you guys briefly. Yeah, he's no
Yeah.
longer with you guys. He stayed back in Yorn. Sorry, Krotic. But I have, it's funny. I made this mini for Krotic, and then we never used him.
Do we have the rocks like right along here?
Yeah, so you have 5 stones kind of lined up. They can kind of be along. I was expecting it to be the wall kind of facing outwards,
Like, oh.
but wherever you want them to be. You had time.
yeah,
In fact,
this wall, like right here. This wall.
3, 4, 5. Here you go.
So they're funneling in this
Put
way.
these where you would like them to be.
So I'm
Okay,
gonna
a
put
little
my
tiny
feet on
mini
that
dice.
ridge.
Yeah,
Come on. This ridge here.
wherever you want them to be.
How
But they're
tall
coming.
is this ridge, Joe?
Take
Uh,
the couple
Probably
of those and put,
about 23
like,
feet
2
tall. at the
there,
top.
2 here.
They're coming in this way.
I see a bunch on this
23,
side.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on the other side of this ridge. Right
The other side of the
really
ridge,
much.
there's a little supply depot. There are some barricades, although the barricades now, as you guys form them, the ones on the outside, like an overgrowth of plant life and things like
and
that.
over here as well.
Where?
In this gate.
Yes. And then in the barricades that are behind, the spiked barricades are the ones that Shay made with the maker.
Okay.
They don't look spiked, but they're
probably, like,
they're
over here
cool looking.
somewhere, right?
Wherever you want.
Because, like,
Put 'em
if they're
along
mostly
the
coming in this way from pushing them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
For initiative, anybody? Natural 20?
Yes.
Wow!
Nice.
So you started your first session ever with 4 natural ones.
It
I'm
was
making up for
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so many natural ones.
All right,
It was
everybody
like back to
25 to
back,
20.
too.
22.
22, very nice.
I have a 25.
25. Oh, right, swashbucklers. 25, Elanor. All right, 20 to 15.
17.
17 for Oakfeld. 15 to 10.
14.
Okay.
It's a tough one. Tough initiative.
Ultimately, Akka, you're still not going last. You're actually there. You guys are all going before them.
Hey, that's what we like to hear.
Advantage.
They're undead. They're not real fast.
Yeah.
But there's 2 that are particularly slow.
Hopefully it's the big one.
Huh?
So hopefully it's the big one.
It is. All right. So the
Nice.
way this is going to work, Brenna, you are first, followed by Elanor, then Shay, then Oakfeld, then Akka, and then we'll see what happens from there. So,
Can we say that I used bolstering magic before?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So just
alright.
explain what that does.
So it's not a spell, but basically cast it on myself. I get to add D3 to all my attack rolls and ability checks for 10 minutes.
Yep.
There's also a thing about regaining spell slots, which I don't have. So that's
Absolutely. So yeah, you kind of grit your teeth in preparing yourself for the battle. You feel elements of the air around you shift in strange ways as your wild magic seems to almost flare up a little bit. You feel unpredictability in the air.
yes, and
Good
feeling
thing we
that
have that luck.
I go into a rage.
Yeah.
Let's see what
that on the-
wild magic is gonna happen here. All right, so oh yeah.
Raging.
All
On
right.
top of the archway.
Oh, this is.
Yeah, that's her the Hero Forge.
Oh,
Man.
Nice.
wait, I haven't
Oh.
seen it yet.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh, sweet.
It came out really well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the best ones that we've gotten.
Yeah.
Hero Forge, thank you. For color print.
thank you, Hero Forge.
It's
All
fine, I'm not gonna
right,
focus.
so as I begin raging, you see my axe kind of start to glow with strange magical energy. Practically speaking, you can tell that it gains the light and throne properties.
Nice.
And somehow you know that when it leaves my hand, it'll reappear back in my hand at the end of my turn.
That's awesome. So all of you see suddenly on top this axe begin to kind of like pull little bits of the snow that is falling into it. Like it's pulling force into it.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so I can throw it, but it doesn't reappear in my hand until the end of the turn.
Correct.
So if I'm using extra attack, but
You
Well,
don't want to use it for your first.
it's not awesome yet. Okay.
Finish it with a
Yet
throw.
again, Wild Magic Barbarian. Almost great, a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got my winged boots on.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to fly down and just get next to the big boy.
Okay.
Boop, doop, boop. Flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or onto the ground.
I'll fly. I'll just like hover around him at shoulder level, and I'm gonna just hit him
Yeah, go for it.
with my axe.
Nice.
All
You're
right.
certainly going to try.
We'll see how it goes. Didn't go too well last time. So that's gonna be 14 plus 16 to hit.
A 16 to hit. This is on the big one?
Yeah.
Absolutely hits.
All right. So that's gonna be 17 damage.
17
You just
damage,
took
all right.
17 damage.
And what kind of damage is that?
That's force damage because of the wild magic.
Nice. Okay.
All right, and then see the thrown thing is so cool, but if you've got 2 attacks, it's like pointless. All right, well,
with 2 attacks, you could throw it for the last attack.
yeah, but you're already next to the person you probably want to hit. That's fine. I'm just complaining now for fun. I'm gonna hit him again.
Okay.
16 plus, so 17 to hit again, I think.
17 hits.
For 18 damage.
Damn.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah,
That
that's
is a
35
good
points
chunk.
of damage just straight up.
Nice.
So you leap off the archway, and as you do, clutching this axe, it suddenly, so much later, the momentum of the mass of it kind of swings you even further out, and the first hit is mid-air. You kind of strike into the rib cage. Part of the ribs snap, and you can hear the skeleton just kind of looks down for you, but you're already by it. Landing down, you kind of land near the foot. As it goes down to hit, you strike across the leg, and you hear one of the bones snap. The whole thing sags to the side a little bit as you do. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Oh, so I think I said that I wanted to be like hovering around his shoulder, like specifically to
Okay.
be sort of out of
Good
reach
to know,
of
good to know.
the small
Okay.
guys. But otherwise, everything else you said, very on
Perfect.
point.
Slicing him in the face.
So yeah, you slice him in the arm instead of the leg. He kind of like almost drops the club, picks it back up. But as you hover, you can see all to the right and the left just a line of undead now kind of beginning to start to climb up the ridgeway to try to like find their way over the ridge on the other side as well. Most of them kind of funneling into this this kill zone that you guys have created.
Love it.
But anything else?
That is it for now.
Fantastic. Elanor, you are up. Shay, you're on deck.
Yes. So I'm guessing no one's within 30 feet of me, yeah?
So you don't know immediately, but you would imagine the people right at the base of this structure probably close to 30 feet.
Okay, but like no enemies. They're all a bit further away.
Hard to tell. There might be enemies within 30 feet.
Okay. I'm going to move closer to the edge of the ridge, I
Sure.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, towards the enemies.
Are you this one?
Yeah.
Yes, that's me.
That's Rhodesia.
Alright.
So she's Rhodesia temporarily.
So this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I reliably stand there?
Yeah. Even if you,
Wow.
you physically can't.
No, I didn't do
Oh, and
that.
it just hit Brenna too. Wow.
Damn.
Rough. Natural one.
Yeah. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't
So-
have to put it right on the edge, but
Yeah.
you are like right on the
Yeah.
edge. Sure.
So I'm going to toss my rapier in the air and tell it to heal, as its command word, to start floating.
And so all of a sudden it goes from looping up in the air to just snapping. And you see like this little element hang off the end, float in the air, but it just drifts at your shoulder.
So I'm going to use that. So as part of that, it can fly towards a enemy creature within 30 feet of me and attack it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to command it to attack one of the smaller guys. So I think,
There's pretty much take your pick.
yeah.
How does it look when you command it to do that?
So basically, I point and say "sick 'em," and it kind of just like dives wildly towards that closest guy and tries to pierce it through the skull.
Fantastic. So Akka, you suddenly see the sword tossed up in the air, snap to this levitating position, and as soon as Elanor says "sick 'em," the sword into the darkness. Just completely disappears like a dart. You see it straight towards its target. Roll an attack roll. It is within range.
Okay, cool. So, and he uses mine, so that's going to be a 24 to hit.
24 hits. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, that poor guy.
And I'm guessing this isn't a sneak attack since I'm not doing anything to hide myself.
It is a sneak attack.
It is a sneak
These are
attack.
really unintelligent creatures, and you're up out of its sight. It cannot see you, and so it is a sneak attack.
Okay, so that would be my regular damage plus...
Your sneak attack damage.
Okay, so regular damage first. So that's...
Trem is angry
That's
zombie.
sad
Jeez.
then.
I know you're excited.
Oh, God. So
We've
that's-
been walking for days.
I'm just so excited to see people.
There's a bathroom.
So 7 plus 8 plus 13. So... No, that's not right. 7 plus 8. Right. 7 plus 8. Yeah, no, 7 plus 8 plus 13. Yeah.
Oh my god.
15. Yeah.
15.
Huh?
15, I think.
15.
Yeah.
So was a plus 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
15.
20,
27. 28? Okay. So it's 28 points of damage.
So you point, and as the sword streaks through, you see one of these creatures look up at you. Right through the eye, the skull explodes in the back as the hilt and the pommel pass through the hole as well, shattering the skull. The creature drops into a pile of bones. You can pull one of those off.
Alright.
One
So-
closest. Yeah, perfect.
Squishy guys.
So that was my bonus action, and then for my action, I'm gonna look towards the big guy and say, "Hey, ugly! Why don't you try to hit me with that fucking club?" And then use my panache to try to convince him to attack
Sure, go
me
ahead
and only
make,
me.
Go ahead and make your check.
So it is persuasion. That was terrible, but 20.
So you're going to learn something about panache right now.
Oh.
I believe one element of panache, I'm
panache.
double checking really quick, is that you need to share a language.
It needs to be able to. I think it needs to be able to hear and be able to understand.
The creature must be able to hear you, and the two of you must share a language. So though you feel as if you are successfully kind of goading this thing, it doesn't seem to get its attention. But good try.
Dang.
Good idea.
And that's my deal.
There you go. All of a sudden, at the end of your turn, you kind of say, "Hey, ugly!" Like, kind of swing at me. It doesn't pay any attention to you, and you're like, "Ah!" And suddenly, you hold up a hand, and your sword reappears, or reappears hovering over you, however you want it to. That is your turn, Shay. What would you like to do? Oakfeld, you're on deck. Shay, from your perspective, you see the little gnome at your side leap into combat, and then you see a sword fly down towards an enemy, and then reappear.
How close are they to the ridge where I am?
To the ridge where you are, the closest ones, maybe like 10, 15 feet away from the base of it.
Okay. I want to jump off and like try to land on the closest one.
Go ahead, make an attack roll. Yeah, sure.
That is a 21.
21 hits.
Womp womp. 6 points of damage.
How much?
6.
6 points of damage. So you leap off, and as you kind of come to a landing, you don't really kick down so much as the natural force from that jump buckles one of these creatures. You feel the shoulder pop out of the socket and kind of slough off. The creature kind of at you as you leap off of it, already moving.
And he's going to take a couple other fists.
Sure.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits. You guys love this
On this big,
For
on this big one.
11.
11 points
22.
of damage.
Smack,
So
smack.
this creature, you land on it, you feel the shoulder pop,
you're
you
just
kind
gonna
of jump
hang out.
off, and as you do, you swing your leg around and like an almost axe kick midair, kick the entire head off this thing. It
Solid.
into the cliff and kind of falls into the snow. The body slumps over, dead. You can pull another one out near wherever Shay is.
Do I have a clear line on the big guy from here?
Since none of them can touch you, yeah, absolutely.
You're probably like right,
Right there,
about
yeah.
Solid.
here-ish.
He's going to take the last hit.
Okay.
Ooh, this guy's got a
24.
24, yeah, that hits.
he's got a
For 7.
definite
7
aesthetic.
points of damage. So you leap off, landing on one of their shoulders, kind of dislocating it and kicking the head clean off. As you do, use that momentum to kind of brace yourself and land against that barricade, holding on to the natural grown elements from your paladin ally. You kind of scrunch up like a tense spring and leap from there to make that final attack and kind of spear through one of them. Still alive. You hit one of the smaller ones?
I hit the,
The
big
big
one.
The big one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big one.
So yeah, you hit it and kind of pull the spear away. Very little damage to it. What kind of damage is that though?
Magical.
Yeah, but magical piercing?
It's my fist.
Oh, your fist.
Magical fist.
So that's bludgeoning damage.
Correct.
Interestingly, as you punch this creature and deal bludgeoning damage to it, it's like that does much more damage than you expect. You feel like the joints kind of rattle, the whole thing loose. There's not a lot of cartilage holding it together.
Perfect.
Yeah, very, very
And
good.
then I want to end up back on top of the ridge where I started.
And so from that last kind of hit, you strike it, you feel that reverberation, you tense and leap, the snow kind of parting in your wake, but you land right back up on top of the ridge.
And that's my
Shay has like an 80 movement speed raw. It's ridiculous, yeah.
Monk.
High
Wild
level
gave it away.
All right. Anything else, Shay?
That's it.
Oakfeld, what would you like to do? Akka, you're on deck.
I'm going to look up to the sky. Even the biggest tree in the forest must bow to the winds of the storm. And I'm going to bow to the enemies. And then I'm going to run up, get as close as I can to this big guy right here.
Okay.
And then you see, as I'm running, my eyes open. And it's like a greenish yellow eyes, kind of like the opposite of like a dilation of a lizard when his eyes dilate. And his skin starts to vibrate, almost in like hexagon kind of patterns all throughout his body as it starts to turn brown. From a distance, it looks like a time lapse of a plant moving and growing quickly. You just see it jerk up and down, right, left, up. And he emerges as this tall, plant-like monstrosity. And he takes his pike, he looks the big guy right in the eye, and he gets ready to attack him.
You're standing like chest level to this creature now.
Yeah.
You are much bigger. And all of a sudden, for you especially, even through the haze of your rage, you feel like the ground shake a little bit, and you look and you see Oakfeld's skin like flaking and peeling away and wood emerging. This creature now, like almost, probably close to like 12 feet tall, I think you are.
Yeah.
Like massive. Awesome. Anything else?
Next to you're standing next to him right now.
Well, I'm flying, so.
Well, you're
Akka,
flying.
for you, this is
probably,
traumatizing. You
feel
see
very
another
small.
aggressive tree.
another giant tree. I'm just like, God.
This is the third aggressive tree in like 24
At
hours.
least this one's on my side, ostensibly.
The ground around me is now like even more dense with overgrown because the 30 feet of my rooted defense is now difficult terrain.
So all around you, as you change into a tree, you feel the earth beneath you and your awareness grows as the roots spread out amongst the dirt, breaking through the snow, almost like these small like spikes. The whole area covered in these like wooden protrusions that at once kind of dry and become hard and brittle.
It's like this area. Right?
Yeah, that whole area kind of going underneath the ridge.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll my first attack. It is 6 plus 9, so 15.
What kind of damage?
Piercing. It's a pike.
Piercing. Okay, so that was 15 to hit?
Yeah.
Okay, that hits.
Nice. It's a 6 plus 4 plus another d6 for my first attack. 6.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so 16 points of damage total.
Yep. My second attack. That's 12 plus 9, so 21.
Okay, that hits.
D10. Here it is. 5
Okay. Plus
plus
anything?
4. And I'm going to do a pole-arm bonus attack as well.
There you go. Okay.
Nice.
6 plus 9, so 15.
15
Hit.
hits.
Nice.
This is a very big creature. He's not wearing a lot of armor or anything. It's pretty easy to hit.
4.
4 points of damage?
Yep.
Okay.
Plus 4.
So 8 total. Nice. So stacking this on, as you surge forwards, the ground shaking and changing, your form changing, the first punch starts as kind of like an uppercut, but as you grow, the force behind it amplifies with your growth, and as you burst into your final tree form, you strike him dead in the chest with all of your power. You feel parts of the sternum crack in, and he goes from this to this kind of like hissing almost as you cave in the entirety of the chest. You kind of pull away, bits of bone fall out. These 2 empty eye sockets now glaring directly at you. You definitely have its attention.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's my turn. That's
There you
everything.
go. Akka, you are up, and then we're going to have some undead creatures.
Did my haste take effect, or have I not hasted yet?
I would say you haven't hasted yet.
Okay. I'm going to fly. Oh, jeez. I did it.
No.
Everybody dies.
Safe. Glove, no.
Like, I'm sorry.
Bye.
So I'm gonna fly down here.
Okay.
Can I get to here from here? I don't know, lateral,
That's about 35 feet of movement.
which I have.
So you're all set.
Great. Okay, and then
Put this around you just because you're.
I'm magic affected?
What are you doing? I'm trying to remember what you're doing for that. Because are you hasting?
No, I have not
Okay,
hasted.
then don't worry about that then. That
Okay.
was just to mark that you were hasted.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll hold on to that though.
Okay.
I'm going to cast lightning bolt 100 feet in a line
Phenomenal.
all the way that way.
Phenomenal. Okay, so I believe that's the whole stretch.
It goes all the way to, I believe, here.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're gonna hit a tremendous number of them. That's a dex save, right?
It is a dex saving throw, or they take
Oh,
8d6
this
lightning.
I gotta say, this is one of the coolest things. Okay, so that's gonna be
Well done.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, you said about something. I'm not sure what it is.
10,
When you told me, I couldn't believe it.
That is 12 of them and the big one.
Oh, yeah.
That's
my
amazing.
gosh.
So I'm actually okay. I'm gonna use Google to roll the little ones because I'm not gonna roll 12 times.
all right, I'll start
Which
rolling the
roll,
damage
D20?
because they're taking
Yeah,
half
yeah,
as
yeah,
much
yeah.
regardless.
Okay.
8d6.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wait, straight line, straight line.
What is the save on that?
Dex save. The DC, you mean?
Yeah.
Is an 18, my good friend.
Not a single one of the little ones make that save. The big one also fails. It will be less
me see
damage
what
you to
these-
him. Maybe.
You got 2 more?
That's a lot of damage.
One more? You got one more?
Matthew, I'm very impressed by this.
Nice rolling.
I was like,
I think you win D&D today.
I mean,
You
I
get
get
the
to roll
gold medal.
8d6 right now.
Play
All
the
right,
game.
so that's
Those are
okay.
some good rules.
That's 25, 28
28 points of
lightning
damage.
damage. Yes.
So as you point forwards, the armor around your arm swirls with these calligraphy-like sigils that amplify, forming almost these rings around it. It's like this beautiful magical ribbon. And as you swirl your ribbon dancing around, a bolt of lightning erupts from this ring of sigils, going straight through this line of undead. You watch as one after another, they just pop, explode, and burn. That entire line. You kill 12 of them. How much damage was that?
That was 28 points of lightning damage. Plus, do I get what's the spell attack damage? I always forget this. Do I get a bonus for my spells like that?
Unless it says
Unless it says it,
Okay,
usually
then-
not.
No, 28.
So, okay. Still
Boom,
great.
boom.
As all of those creatures, they explode, break apart. You smell burning, decaying flesh. There is this deafening crack of thunder that follows in its wake.
That was satisfying.
That was amazing, first of all. Second of all, you see this huge creature, the lightning arcing through its bones into the eye sockets. It's still very much looking at you, Oakfeld. But fantastic work. Anything else, Akka?
I guess
And you were so close to hitting 2 of your party members too.
I know.
So-
I was. Like,
I wouldn't have minded, honestly.
But for you and Oakfeld, this goes straight in front of you. So you are engaging with somebody, you're about to hit them, and suddenly they explode. You see the lightning pass through. The one right in front of Oakfeld is about to try to hit him, explodes. That's like a massive attack.
And you
Very
wonder why Brenna likes Akka.
Yeah, there you
Look
go.
at this guy.
So I think. Yeah, I can't really do much for my bonus action, so I'm just gonna start flying my way. Oh no, I can't do that. Never mind. That's fine.
Okay, no
I'll
problem.
just rest in the satisfaction of
So
That was quite a turn.
it
the
would
single
be.
action.
Light a cigarette or
I
something.
think I have one skeleton left. So the one guy who kind of like stumbled forward over some of these thorns and vines that Oakfeld had created kind of looks back. There's nobody left from the horde that was there with him. He's undead. He's not real smart. He's going to turn. He's going to try to strike you, Oakfeld. At your shin, you see this one like zombie lurch up to you. Just swinging. That's gonna be a 6 to hit.
19 armor.
Yeah, so he just scratches, a little bit of like the wood scrapes away, but does no damage whatsoever. You don't even really feel it. That is all my undead's turn. Up on the ridge, you see Arkwent in this red trench coat, who had so much cool stuff to do, with his glowing crossbow of radiant energy, and just go, huh. He's just gonna tuck it. He's just gonna tuck it away. No, he's gonna watch the rest of this happen. That was crazy. That was Arkwent's turn. It is now this massive skeleton. So, Oakfeld, you are going to be taking 3 attacks.
Let's do it.
First one is only going to be a 10 to hit. I'm not going to use that dice. Second one is going to be better at 18. That ties your AC, right?
Nope, 19 AC.
19. Look at that. All right.
Wild.
That is a 14 to hit.
Nice.
I couldn't roll above a 10. So,
Look at those high AC.
this huge creature raises the club. You see lightning arcing around the wood, swings it down towards you. And for you, Oakfeld, you reach up with these wooden arms, and as you grab the club, you almost grow through it. And as you merge with the wood, the club into the ground. For everybody else, it looks like you were smashed, but you just stand now on top of the club.
Nice.
The last couple of roots, like, snapping away. Misses you completely. That is his turn. That brings us to the top of the round. Brenna, what would you like to do? Elanor, you're on deck. You look down. You look up, and there's this one skeleton kind of crackling with lightning in
Joe's
front of
never
you.
gonna
one
give
off.
me a straight line of enemies again.
Never done it before.
I saw it and I
man.
was just like, wait, I know I have a spell that shoots in a straight line.
That's pretty dope.
Brenna looks around and is like, this is so good. She's just going to keep hitting the big guy because there's nothing else to do. That's going to be a... Oh, wait, plus the D3. Sorry. This is a D3. 7 plus 4. Math. 15.
Yeah, sorry, 15. All right. 15. That's going to hit.
Nice.
All right. For 19 damage.
Damn. Okay. Nice.
This guy's
My
probably
pink
looking,
D12s.
if he had
He's
blood,
starting to look pretty rough.
Yeah.
He's in rough shape.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit him again. 19 plus a bunch.
Yeah, that hits.
That's gonna be another 12 damage.
Jeez.
And Brenna's just gonna stay put, flying around shoulder height.
So as you're flying at shoulder height, right beneath you, this lightning bolt crackles across. You watch these bodies pop and explode in like a line, almost like a light or a string of lights that just all overheat at once and just explode. You take this sudden surge in the momentum. Swinging forward, you dig deep into it again and again. This creature, as it swings down, you see almost crushing one of your friends who just reemerges on the other side. Gives you a beautiful opening. You carve into the clavicle. The whole arm sloughs off. Still holding the club in one, but a lot of damage. This thing is barely hanging on. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Alrighty, Elanor. What'd you like to do?
Alright.
Shay, you're on deck.
Well, all the little guys I was gonna target have all blown up.
There's still one.
There's still one.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out behind the fence there.
Yeah, I don't think he's within 30 feet of me.
You can tell
So-
even at an eyeball, definitely.
No, so
Oh,
I'm
he's
gonna.
up here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to move closer.
Okay.
Would I be able to stay up on that ridge and buy it?
I'm going to
That has a
say
suggestion for you.
you can make an you can make an acrobatics check for sure.
Okay.
And we'll kind of count that as like half your movement. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so that is a 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Acrobatics.
So versus like a shifting deck, this is no problem. You run, the snow causing you like a little bit of a slip at the end, but you leap and kind of skid onto this thing. You catch yourself seeing rocks tumble over the edge, but you're up there.
All right, so I'm gonna target the little guy once again tossing the rapier up and commanding it forward.
Make your attack roll.
That was a 27 to hit.
27 hits.
Okay. Cool. I'm guessing this is also a normal attack.
This... So technically, because he's adjacent... Well, because he's adjacent to Oakfeld, he also can't see you because you have to remember, that's a massive tree person right now. That's a sneak attack
And
to
the
me.
fancy fence.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And the difficult terrain.
The difficult terrain doesn't really matter in that, but everything else that you mentioned it does.
minus like, okay, let me just write
Thematically,
down
there's a
these
bunch of
numbers so I
leaves
can
in his
do math.
face.
Also true.
7? Oh, this is so dumb. So,
Rogue sneak attack is like the most math that you have to do for any single roll.
It's like,
I
alright,
did
so I do my base damage.
number 7.
Except for maybe Gesundheit, except for maybe Fireball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Similar number of d6s.
Guiding bolts.
20.
Oh
Especially
yeah,
higher
guiding bolts too.
Yeah.
That's 29 points of damage.
29 points of
This
damage.
guiding bolt.
Tell us how it happens.
Nice.
All right, so basically the same idea. She sees after that like insane line, she's like, well, all right. So she kind of does a cool flip over and straight through and kind of goes straight down through it, so that rapier kind of stands in the ground after her.
Fantastic.
And then,
Nice.
As you gesture,
Just
the
like
sword does like a
straight down.
loop up and then straight down. And
I
for
just
you,
died.
Oakfeld, you feel this kind of scrape as this zombie like grabs at you. You kind of look down annoyed, and suddenly you just see straight through. It jerks upright as it's skewered through. The big skull, the big eyes, everything just kind of jerks upright. The one remaining arm crumbles off before the whole thing falls to a pile of bones. The only creature remaining is a badly injured zombie. I'll say Oakfeld, with no issue now, you just kind of turn to it. You look at the big one that's now dead and just spattering it into the snow.
Nice.
And I'm going to pull you guys out of initiative. Well done.
Alright.
Damn. That was,
Aka.
Incredible.
that was
Insane.
probably like,
MVP.
that might have
Yeah.
been my finest moment.
That's pretty good.
In
That
combat.
was real impressive. I feel like an idiot for putting that many people on the line.
I feel
but-
like the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah, that was
Gotta be
so-
some good art,
That was
right?
pretty
That
sweet.
was pretty cool.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So
Well, good night, everybody.
better retire now while I'm on top. So now, in the stillness of the night that you see, you kind of look around. There's smoldering remains of corpses, a line of them, almost 100 feet long, in front of this densely grown barricade of naturally grown trees and plant life, crushed up snow that has been molded together with the maker. The people behind this pillar, all holding their swords, like ready to go, are like,
I'll fly up to the presumed leader
Yeah.
who had the crossbow.
yeah, he's just kind of like holding it now, one hand over the
So, was it per head or?
Damn. That was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. And I literally work in a place that has a demon slayer, so that's something. I'll tell you what. He kind of reaches into his pocket and he pulls out. It is this complex-looking, like a gothic bee, but the top of the bee kind of twists and turns into a dagger that then comes back down through it. Take this with you. Tell him Arkwith sent you, and go to the Dark Meadow Armory. There's a couple things there I think you guys could use, in particular for you. There's a kind of like a cowl situation. What you got on is fine, but this has an air of magic to it, a little bit more powerful than that.
All right. Well, thank you. You think you can hold off any other attacks?
I mean, you dealt with a pretty large. We've never seen anything like this. This is totally new.
So
When you go, if you could have them send some reinforcements, that'd be pretty good. We're gonna need at least another 4 people out here.
probably, yeah, at least 4.
For you, and he kind of calls over the edge of the cliff for all of you. Thank you. We would have been in a lot of trouble if you hadn't come by.
We're happy to help, I guess.
We were.
Yes.
We were happy to help.
Yes.
Here is our owner.
All right.
Do hate to
Chop,
run,
chop.
but we do.
Yeah, we have to go.
Absolutely. And
We've
the
got-
quicker that you get there, it's about a day walk for us. You guys can get there in under an hour with your
All right.
contraptions. So.
Stay safe. Don't. If you think that's happening again, just run. Yeah, just run.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's why when we landed, I had said, wasn't
All
sure.
right. All right, we're
All
good.
right.
We can wrap
All right,
this up.
thanks for
When
the.
you get
Thanks
there,
for the.
everybody else like climb out. They start like floating.
All right, here we go.
Please, when you get there, send help.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You all climb one by one aboard, and with no trouble whatsoever. I'm going to say, go ahead, make a check getting off actually, because you are starting out a little precariously.
Oh yeah.
You haven't,
See if I can
Oh, I
roll
should've
above
readjusted it.
3 to fly. Yay! A 14.
Nice.
You've had a little practice now. Having landed and taken off twice. You lift this away. As you do, the whole northern face of that ridge crumbles away a little bit. You scrape off like hundreds of pounds of rock. Snow collides. You see 3 of the charred corpses just buried in a little landslide. But the ship, after that, gracefully arcs off into the sky. Everybody aboard. You hear this kind of little squishing noise, and then from the bottom, Glub pokes his head out and goes, "Are we going?"
Yeah, we're going.
Okay.
Get back below deck.
Okay. And he just kind of waddles back down. You guys make your way over the next hour to Dark Meadow. As you approach now with the early morning sun, many of you quite tired. You can see a thriving cattle town. Bright, beautiful town, a lot of green kind of built into the center, even in the winter. Here, this far to the west, kind of close to the ocean, a lot less snow. In the center of town, there was, when you guys played the Dark Meadow Heartbreaker, set almost 1,000 years ago,
yeah.
there was just a big cattle pen in the center of town, but it's now a sprawling green with like a walkway around it and a few other statues.
It's like the common now.
Yeah, actually it is it's based on the common. There's cobblestone streets that surround it, and then a broad avenue from the main entrance that used to be a cattle drive that goes along a section of town called Old Town. But as you kind of get closer, you can see there are quite a few structures here. You can see there are inns, there are, there's a number of farms that exist around here, obviously. What do you guys, you just want to kind of land and...
Yeah, I'm gonna try carefully.
I'm gonna look for a spot to land.
Luckily, this is a cattle town with huge pastures, so no problem here. You don't even need to make a check, because this is parallel parking when you have the whole street.
Captain Elanor, just take it down anywhere.
Suddenly these lights
Gently.
go off, like these 2 sigils light up in the back, and you hear this but no trouble. You land the ship kind of in this. There's a few people, actually. I'm going to say it's early in the morning. Yeah, she's probably out. You can see there is a gnome, small, kind of walks up, and you can see wearing like a little badge, wearing Dark Meadow boots, cowboy boots, and actually very uncommon for this region and for this time period especially. You see at the hip a very unusual looking armament. This is kind of like a metal pipe. It seems to have some kind of strange contraptions attached to it. There's like a tank that seems to hold something. For any of you familiar with Stoneflow, which is actually, now think about it, none of you.
We used to know about it.
Actually, no. You
know a little bit about
Akka
it,
would
yeah.
know a little bit about Stoneflow, because
Used to know a lot more.
Stoneflow is the other dwarvish coal that is on Dominion. It is very, very closely guarded, everything about it. People not from Stoneflow are not allowed in. There's a very small diplomatic kind of center that you can get
They
to.
also have good technology, right?
So one of the reasons that it's so hard to get to without a Dwarven Ironsides, which is only produced by Coal Stoneflow, you can't break through the ice to get there. You have to travel through a frozen kind of cavern that you travel through by ship, and then can reach the inside of the Col that way. It is kind of like Col Taram, built into the inside of a mountain. But they're the only group at the moment that can produce guns. And so this is a very primitive version of that. But she kind of looks up, gazing at all of you, and just kind of goes, so, okay. You didn't look undead, so I wasn't really too worried.
What was his name? Arfram?
That's Brother Arkwin that you're talking about there.
We just helped. There were about 15, 16 undead. They're going to need reinforcements.
There was a giant.
A giant.
A literal giant undead.
Skeleton creature.
Like an actual giant? Like tall?
Yeah, like actually like
a very large.
maybe a hill giant at one
roughly
point.
20 or so feet tall.
We took care of it. Don't worry. But they need some
They're
reinforcements.
okay now, but
Well,
in
if
the event
Arkwin
of
needs
more.
reinforcements, that must be serious. So we'll get somebody out right away. But if you helped out and he sent you back with that,
He said that
do
there
you
would
need
be.
something?
He said that there would be some items in the armory that we could probably make use of.
You know what, sweetheart? If Arkwin sent you, we have some stuff for you.
Great.
Follow me.
Thank you.
She kind of starts moving.
Yeah.
Early morning, you guys skipping through the sun. Most of you very tired.
Yeah,
I
maybe
can-
a few
if
beds.
I can go get us the supplies if you all need to rest, and then we can take off. Do you need to?
I need at least a
rest?
few hours before I can safely start flying this
Can
thing
you
again.
run me through it? I've worked on it, so I think I could probably get it flying so you could rest. I feel pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a bed, you can stay at the driver's rest saloon, or you can stay.
We can't really stay, but
Oh, all right.
we're, the undead. We have some things to take care of.
I mean,
Preventative.
you arrived on a flying ship, so I assume you're pretty important.
We'll be quick about it, but reinforcements for them because
get right on that. Why don't
do
you
that.
come with me? We'll go take
Great.
a look at the armory. Anybody else
I'll
wants
be
to come?
back
Welcome.
if you.
Can I come to the armory too?
Come along,
and then
Brenna.
I'll
Yeah,
and then
come
I'll
on.
sleep once we're in the air again.
Okay. We'll be back very quickly. Get it ready. Run me through it when I get back, and then you take some rest. Okay.
All right.
All right. She's already kind of she's already moved like 20 feet. She's like stopped waiting.
Come
for
on,
you.
Brenna.
She starts jogging too, like, oh, I like you guys. You guys take a jaunt over to the armory. Kind of jogging, getting some weird looks. It is a stone building, 2 stories high. You can see there's a staircase that leads to the entrance on the 2nd floor. There's a steel door, and as this woman approaches it, she takes out a key and opens it up. The door open, and you can see inside there are 3 desks in a kind of 10 by 20 room. You can see she kind of walks over to the back one, takes off her gun belt and kind of puts it there. There's a little, like a jail cell style door, kind of bars going down. And she walks up to that with another key. All right, so anything in here that you want, you're welcome to. I mean, this has mostly been around here since the Greyfang incursion, so
I'm taking.
help yourself.
How much? How
unlocks the
how
door
much
and
are we
opens it
looking
up.
at here?
So walking
Open a
in,
package and
It's just like
What are your
Yeah.
strengths?
the armory, the actual room that she
closet
opens,
full of swords.
it's a 60-foot long room by about
Oh.
20 feet, and there are many shelves here, many of them empty. However,
Okay.
you see a number of things.
Okay.
Along the walls, there are a few iron lockers that are almost like safety deposit boxes.
Okay.
On the right wall, there are all manners, racks of different kinds of mundane weapons. Pretty much any weapon that you could imagine. All relatively normal make. You can see shields. You can see a few sets of leather up to half plate mail armor.
Okay.
All kind of lined up on the right-hand wall.
Cool.
On the left, right when you enter, there's a long series of drawers. And you can see one of them kind of propped open, and similar to what you have. There are some healing potions on the top shelf. Unclear as in what's the other 2 shelves.
Okay.
Excuse me. Your eyes are immediately pulled to the very end of the room. You see a dress figure there, under glass.
Okay.
It is wearing a shimmering, opaque seafoam green upper chest piece that guards the throat, the neck, the shoulders with this ornately twisted and faceted armor of glass. It looks as if it's from Everest. From this mantle, there hangs a hooded cloak of black with golden, intricate elvish patterns across. It is certainly magical. Next to it, you see a vibrant purple prism that hangs within a small basket knot of hemp rope. And this, next to it, almost even more magical.
Okay. Do either of them look like things that I've heard of from the collective?
Make a history check.
Okay. 19.
This purple prism, certainly. There are a number of these items that exist. Also, I want to point this out because you guys are relatively new. I don't give away a lot of magical items. It seems kind of crazy right now, but this has been building for a little while. This is called an Ioun stone.
Oh, okay.
This one in particular, the vibrant purple one, is the Ioun Reserve Stone.
Okay.
It's something that you're able to kind of store spells within.
Cool. Okay.
You haven't heard of this glass armor, this mantle. This is something unusual. It's from far across the Emerald Expanse, so not from Dominion, not something that you guys would necessarily be tracking.
Okay. Come on, Brenna. Go grab these. Is there anything
Aaron's just
else
happy to be there, like
to,
gathering stuff up.
Make an investigation
Yeah,
check. If
I'm
you're just
going
kinda
to
dig
ask.
through real
I'm
quick.
also. Well, I'm going to ask. I never forgot her name, but the nice lady who's taking us through here.
You can just call me Fast Hand. Yeah, we got a couple things here.
Do you have any? He said something about magical items. We'll take whatever you don't need.
You see Bretta taking the little prism. Well, that one. And then she's like kind of looking at this big glass case. And the one under there, can I open that? I'll just, give me a second. She goes over, takes out another key, unlocks it, and opens this glass door. You have access to this mantle if you would like to take it.
All right.
Am I
I
tall
rolled a-
enough to even
I
get
rolled
it
a
down?
dirty 20 on the investigation.
A dirty 20 in the investigation.
Yes.
So as you take the steps, you hear shh, 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 as Akka just starts yanking drawers open. Akka with a, excuse me, with a 19.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You find 2 coils of 50 feet of rope,
Okay.
a grappling hook, 2
Okay.
sets of thieves' tools, a ring of keys, although they are so badly rusted they're almost all stuck together.
Okay.
There are 10 sets of flint and steels in the second drawer down. The final drawer, there are 100 crossbow bolts gathered into sets of 10.
Okay. I don't know if anyone needs any of that stuff. I'm gonna take the grappling hook, I guess, because
Okay.
maybe someone could use that.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing else magical that I see besides the 2 magical,
Doesn't seem to be,
big
yeah.
magical. Okay, Brenna, let's go.
Sorry, Brenna's like,
I'm gonna get-
I'm imagining that Brenna's like overloaded with like this big pile of.
Oh, I'm gonna be like, here, you carry this one. I'll carry that one.
So you take this little prism in your hand. It's so smooth. And it feels almost hollow. Tapping against it, you can almost swear that you hear echoes within it, like it's empty, wanting for something. For you, taking this mantle, it's uncomfortable to touch in a way. And you gather, even from the touch, this has something to do with resisting magic. But you take these 2 items, you begin to kind of run out. This lady kind of waves, says,
Thanks
"Thanks for stopping by."
Thank you. Good. At least 10 reinforcements.
All right. And you just kind of barely hear her voice vanishing off towards the ship. You guys return. Maybe like 10 minutes later.
All right, let's go.
Okay, is the ship ready? We're ready.
Is there anybody doing anything in the 10
I
minutes?
am probably in tree form, walking around. Are there trees around me?
So, interestingly, aside from the little center common area, there aren't really trees. This is a place that, because it's made in the plains already, there weren't a lot to begin with. And those that were local probably cut down for lumber a long time ago.
Okay. Is there any plant life?
Yeah. There's grass, little shrubs and things like that.
I'm gonna go up to some shrubs, probably 1 shrub,
Okay.
say something, and then walk away to another shrub.
Okay.
Go to another shrub, do the same thing.
Mhm.
And then the last time, audibly, you can hear me say, "How is my honor?" to the shrub. And I wait for its reply. And I frown,
Aww.
and I hear nothing.
You speak to the plants, but they do not speak back. Not yet. Anything else in those 10 minutes? You watch as Oakfeld speaks to the plan.
I'm just gonna try to mentally articulate to myself how I could explain how to fly a ship to someone who probably has never flown a ship before.
Yeah.
And it's just a very like maybe if I can get in the air.
I did control a submarine.
That's true. Yeah.
It's
You
probably
did control a
kinda similar.
submersible.
As you know,
Very
it's the same as a flying ship.
That was actually a piece of stone flow technology. So that you would remember. It had it used a very, very advanced. It was like I actually researched the science behind it. It basically produces oxygen as well as a byproduct of creating power, thus generating oxygen for you guys and power in the submersible. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very different than flying a ship.
We'll find out.
So you all board the ship. Yes. Are you taking off now? Probably about 10 in the morning.
All right. Would I know if it was possible to like take off and like hand the controls over essentially?
Yeah. So if you
Yeah,
step
autopilot.
away from these controls, it's going to stay however you set it. So
Okay.
you can step. It's like a ship. You could step
Yeah.
away, and slowly the winds will redirect you over time.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can do that.
Okay. So
All right. What do I need to know?
all right. Do you know how to navigate in the sky?
I can see pretty well, and
Okay. If I point the ship in the correct direction and you hold the controls like this, do you think you could keep it steady going in the same direction?
probably what makes it not stay steady in the same direction if I'm holding this.
So as you hold this, you kind of shift your hand, and as you observe the pattern, this kind of move, it looks really simple, but there's these almost imperceptible movements. Like it's hard to replicate. You don't see how to do it, and even as this shifts, the whole ship just kind of moves a little to the side.
All right. So
It's more of like a feel. You kind of have to like feel the air and its movements with the ship and kind of keep it aligned with it without going too hard, because then it'll like start to turn weird. But just put your hand here, and then you can try to like grab his hand and like kind of align and be like, and then if you want to
No.
turn gently and kind of like
move
mimic the
this one
motion.
Okay.
like,
Yeah, I'm gonna try to like hold his hands and like mimic the motions of me keeping the
So
ship steady.
as you do that, Aka's right hand, he just tucks behind his back, but he offers his left one to you.
All right, one hand might be a little bit tougher, but we'll see if we can do this. So I'm gonna basically try to guide his hand so
Sure.
he can get an idea what it feels like to keep the ship steady.
As soon as her hand goes on top of yours and pushes it towards the sigil, you feel this kind of static electricity, almost like there are hairs rising to meet your hand, and then suddenly it smooths, and you feel every motion of the ship. You feel like the air moving forward. You feel this kind of thing, and suddenly your hand just kind of makes almost the exact same motion that you'd seen Elanor make. You can feel why you're supposed to move it like that. It's just almost like
Okay.
you're petting the ship.
okay.
And so your fingers just find their place.
Okay.
And you think, kind of like trying to move, and suddenly the ship kind of twitches, and you're like, okay, it's a little trickier than that. But you get the gist of it.
Okay. This feel I can see what you're talking about.
You can definitely keep it straight.
Okay, so why don't you rest? I can probably keep it straight for, however long you need to sleep, and then probably don't want to try to land.
No.
Because now I see, you've crashed twice.
To be
just
fair. Working
But I
on it.
understand why it is difficult. This thing was literally invented like a week ago. I don't know. So, yes, I can probably do this. You can rest.
Okay,
And good meeting you.
All right.
Akka,
Great.
by the way. Don't think.
Elanor.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you,
Captain-
Akka. Cool lightning
Captain
thing.
Elanor.
So I'm just gonna check to make sure we are in fact heading in a
Make a
direction.
survival check, yeah.
Heading in a direction.
Okay. We're heading in an accurate direction.
I would probably know the direction towards
So, 15.
Dungannon and
Yeah,
Dark
you're
Meadow.
from there.
Yeah. 15.
15. Yeah, you're traveling in the right direction. You look up
Okay.
at the sun, you kind of like chart it. You don't look at the sun, but you chart kind of based on that and knowing the directions as you do. Yeah, perfect heading. You'll get there. Dungannon's a pretty big city, and so you'll kind of go over part of it at least.
Yeah.
Talon redeemed some channel points for something called Wheel, which means something minorly good happens.
Nice.
And so over the course
Thank you,
of this
Talon.
part, as you take your rest, almost miraculously, Glub sleeps for 8 hours.
Wow.
Not a
Nice.
single blood-curdling shriek
The
about the
gentle
burning
rocks of the
fires.
ship.
Perhaps. But you get a solid 8 hours of sleep. You can mark off a long rest. For anybody who would like
Nice.
to, you can mark off a
Yeah,
long
and
rest.
sleep.
Once everyone's asleep, I'm gonna gently grasp with both hands the ship wheel orb.
As your right hand comes out, you can see the dark material almost retract away from this magic, like it doesn't want to touch it. And as you hold, that hand gets a lot warmer as you're steering. It doesn't like it, but nothing happens.
I don't like this.
As you're make an insight check.
Ooh, 12. No, 9.
Just funky giant
bad.
magic stuff, probably.
Dang. Well, yeah.
So, you steer the ship. And you watch as the meadows kind of unfold and slowly begin to get a little bit more rocky, less mountainous, but more these kind of small spires of stone. After a couple of hours, you recognize these structures, these spiky rocks. This is a geographical formation called Betron's Teeth. You begin to kind of realize, in passing over those, the air current's very unpredictable. It might be a good idea to go around. Up to you.
I'm going to try tentatively to like gently shift us so that we kind of go a little up and over
Okay.
along around like the side of the teeth.
Make a flat wisdom check, please.
Oh,
You're not proficient in flying ships.
flat
Or
wisdom.
regular ships.
Oh, nice. 19.
Okay. You begin to do
That's a good
this, and
roll.
as you do, kind of moving your hands, you can feel the way that the ship moves, but again, now it's trying to be a little bit more complex. The ship twists and starts to twitch. You hear underneath you this, and you're like, you know what?
Flash of genius.
With the flash of genius, you're like, I'm gonna skirt around the edge of this. You imagine that your skill level with this craft not safe for you to travel through this, especially not while Elanor is asleep.
Okay. Yeah.
It just adds a little bit of time, but you skirt the edges of it.
Cool.
So, you see, after a couple of hours, after about an hour, really, the beginnings of Dungannon open up. Beautiful tops of buildings. Here and there, you see a little bit more smoke than you remember, and you do see on the edges, on these bridges, there are little troop formations set up. The Steen Bridge beginning to kind of appear in front of you. I'm glad that you like that name. The Steen Bridge, owned by the famous wealthy Steen family, currently headed by the industry leader in pants, Bruce Steen. I hate you so much. You see this drawbridge looming underneath you, but you can see there are like maybe 12 or so members of the Dungannon Navy kind of posted there. Certainly higher security. But as you begin to travel over top Dungannon, you see heads turning up to look at you. You attract a lot of attention. The area that you enter into Dungannon from where you are traveling, you're going to pass right over Sinoso, one of the more kind of cultured areas, and actually right near the edge, across 2 streets, is the Touffet Museum. So you're going to end up passing almost directly over it with almost no course corrections. You would imagine Elanor is probably about rested by now, but you can attempt a landing if you would like.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and wake up Elanor.
Okay. So Elanor, you are woken. You can mark off a long rest.
Nice.
So we're here. Good morning.
Hello.
We're here.
All right.
I didn't want to land, so sorry to wake you.
Valid.
but-
No,
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks for giving me a chance to sleep.
Yeah. So I don't know where you're planning on landing, but
So, is the Skydock anywhere in sight, or
Yeah, you know exactly where it is. So
Okay.
you know It's in Lower Dungannon. It's the opposite side of the city from where
Where
you're
the Mud Brothers are docked still?
supposedly,
Or
yeah.
where they were docked?
Yeah.
All right. The way I see it, we either go for the skydock or I give us a water landing. I don't really see another safe space to pull this up unless we want to kind of float randomly in the middle of the city.
Probably less conspicuous, better than...
Well, we already have full attention.
Yeah,
There's
I
no.
Look down.
There is no.
There's like 7 or 8 children kind of running along the street, like pointing and looking up.
I guess as close to Upper Sonoso as you can reasonably.
Right.
I'm gonna point out like the
Yeah.
area and start looking for a place that might be close enough to land in or around Sonoso,
So,
if possible, and not in like a just
oh no, there's
landing
a
in the
place
middle
that
of
you
a
can-
residential street, like.
Just a park.
So you do see there is a park on the northern part of Sonoso. There is a park. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the name, but I'll look that up. You do see in this park remnants of like a party or a festival or something that happened relatively recently. Aka, you would know if a week has passed. You just missed an event called the Offering of Thunder. It is an event that's held in this area every year to honor Cord and kind of bless the travels for the year ahead. It's a big fighting tournament that happens.
Oh, Thunder would have loved that.
The champion is kind of hailed the continent wide as one of the greatest warriors in the land for that year. Gunter would have been very aware of that event because his group attends it every year.
Oh.
So, you see this park. You see the remnants of this festival or other event, and in the middle there is a pond that is large enough, with maybe 20 feet to spare. It's a tough landing.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
Because I realize as I'm reading over my rogue that would reliable talent apply?
Yeah,
I have not been using reliable talent.
probably should. Yeah.
You've cracked the code.
So we'll just take those first 2 crash landings as me learning how
Yeah.
to fly the ship, and now maybe
New
the third time's a charm.
I was going to point that out after the session because it thematically made a lot of sense, but yeah. So, go ahead. You can use reliable talent to make
Okay.
this happen.
I'm bracing myself. Like, are you doing this?
All right. And of course, that's the first time I rolled over 10 naturally, so it's a 15.
Nice.
So, you brace yourself, but all of a sudden now, with the benefit of a long rest, Elanor seems a lot more sure of themselves. And you kind of steer the ship, now having realized it goes down a lot faster than you realize. You kind of pull back a little bit. You feel the ship, and kind of almost as you hold the controls, in your mind you reassure it, and it kind of pulls itself up and gently lands. You don't even feel it kind of splash until all of a sudden you're aware that the ship is rocking. All of a sudden you hear voices as now there is a crowd around you. Little kids. There's a few people from the Dungannon Navy definitely alarmed that a flying ship has landed in the middle of a park for the first time ever. But because it is about to be midnight, this is where we're going to end for the evening. So thank you for joining us for this session of Adventures in Alberon.
Oh, what was the wheel?
The wheel was that the glove slept for.
Right.
Able
Forgot
to not
that, like,
be sleep
Rest for
deprived.
sleep. Rest is best.
It actually
No
does.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Jeez. It does make a difference.
Rest is best.
So thank you for joining us for this session of Adventures in Alberon. Is everybody back next week?
Yep.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on twitch.tv/AlberonRPG, or if you're watching it tomorrow on YouTube, 6 days from then at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/AlberonRPG. So until then, the next campaign that you will be seeing will be Mosaic Team 5 on Thursday at 6 p.m. Matt and Dan will be joining us for that as the group deals with the fallout from last session.
I have no idea what happened.
You guys destroyed a planet.
Got in some trouble.
Okay, I didn't do
Thursday,
that.
Yeah, it's like
I've clearly.
Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on twitch.tv/AlberonRPG. But until then, it is kind of crazy out there, so stay safe. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.